Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Emil Williams Jr. here with you, courtesy of Bowlstring TV and courtesy of the Cactus Classic and Complete Bowling events. Here with you at the 4th annual now Cactus Classic. 4th time for Theo Duthay, and putting in the work. Live from Lakeview Lanes here in Sun City, Arizona. Please let me know if you can hear me okay. We'll turn up the dial a little bit here as game one now is officially underway here. A squad. This is the only squad of today. Of course, if you've been following this tournament, you know that Saturday is the long day, if you will. There are 3 squads, not including the 2-game Desperado at night. Pleasure to be here with you as always. What is happening in our good bowling world today? Hope all of you are doing well. $10,000 on the line, of course. Here in this 4th annual event, the 2025 edition. I'll show you the pattern here in 1 second, but so far, seeing a lot of urethane on the lanes, which not uncommon, obviously, of course, in today's bowling world. See Matt Zweig, he won the Agent Ong inaugural Open in $10,000 2023. Brad Erickson also on this pair. In fact, on lanes 5 starting out, Jesse Turner, Sean Whitelaw, along with Brad Erickson. Then on 7 and 8, Matt Perry, along with Matt Zweig, Kyle Duster, and Dan Quilt. Ben Perry has been someone that people have had to keep an eye on, especially in Metro Arizona, Metro Phoenix. Saw him a couple of years ago for the first time, and boy, he is phenomenal. Continues to get better. He bowls just about everything that I've seen with regard to certainly local and even into the Southwest for sure. And he's had some really good runs at this tournament, at the Agent Ong, and even the New Mexico Open in recent years. And that is Ben right there, able to carry on lane 7. We've got I've got access to a few channels, or a few pairs, I should say. Got 1 through 4 bottom right on your screen at the moment. I'm going to add 9 through 12 probably at that bottom right a little bit also. 5 through 8 will kind of be our main, and we'll check in on 1 through 4, what's going down over there. GT2, Greg Thompson Jr. We can always put up score. In fact, if the gutter is in play and GT has urethane, it could be trouble for a lot of people. He is out there, and he is striking. So we'll keep our eyes on Mr. Greg Thompson Jr. Also, thank you to those who have wished me a happy birthday. That means you may follow me on social media. Thank you very much. Thanks to Theo for got me a little treat, which I appreciate. A little bunt cake action. And then there's some balloons here in my cool chair, which will stay for the duration of the weekend. I'm not going to remove them because I'm going to be in this chair all day long. If you wouldn't mind to do me a favor, and that is hit the thumbs up, share if you don't mind as well, and certainly subscribe to Bowlstream TV. Again, the first and only squad of today, so that is very important to keep note of. Tomorrow will be 3 squads, but this group will help set the tone of what's to come. There's a little bit of a couple of differences, I should say, in regards to the previous 3 years, going from 8 games to 7, so 7 games. Also going from advancing, I believe it used to be 7 players who advanced. If you were in the top 7 of your squad, you advanced to the finals. This year it is the top 4. So if you're bowling in A, B, C, or D, the top 4 will advance in each squad. And of course the Desperado, still 2-game set. I believe we're advancing 2, and those individuals will be 23rd and 24th in regards to seed respectively. Also here, players will be moving left and right. So if they started on the left lane, they move left. If they started on the right lane, they move right. And they will skip a pair in the process. So if there is a bowler you are looking for and want to view, just let me know who those individuals are. But more than likely, they will certainly hit 5 through 8. We've got lanes 1 through 22. But if we can get to them and watch them a little bit sooner, I will certainly try to oblige every request. Tournament Bowl is also the place that we will have standings. And from that vantage point, Theo's always done a great job of getting standings updated pretty quickly. He will join us in a little bit once things begin to settle down just a touch. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Trey. Trey, you mentioned Dalton, and I'm looking at this squad, and I don't see a Dalton first and or last name. But let me know if that's their first and or last name, and I'll look one more time. Shout out to my man Gerald, who I met at Suncoast during the USPC Queens. That's Gerald on the bottom right of your screen. The lefty. He came up to bowl, drove the 4 hours from Las Vegas, which is where he lives, to bowl this tournament. Saw him during getting a little practice in as I was, of course, getting set up yesterday. Hope everyone is doing okay this afternoon into the morning, or I'm sorry, into the evening. My body, of course, is just all off in regards to time zone. So, as you one would imagine, I woke up very early this morning, as it always is the case when you go from, at least for me, from the central time zone, especially to the West Coast. Well, that wasn't good. Not a lot of hook to the right so far, but that can be difficult to really discuss because there's not a ton of reactive going down the lane. Not a ton at all, in fact. Gave a look down to just a little bit on the high end of the building. There are more reactive balls, it looks like right now, on the high end of the building. And that's just the way that worked out. A couple of strings starting to mount, though. We got a few of them brewing. Hello, John. This is the 2025, or now 4th annual CBE 10K Cactus Classic. CBE, the complete bowling events tournament group led by Theo Duthay. Shout out to all of his sponsors too: Chuck's Painting, EFS, Bro Dogs, but Team Agent Ong, My Home Group, BVL, Ramsey, True Amateur Tournaments in the Desert Southwest, Brunswick. action events as well. Everything going down in Phoenix has been really good in the surrounding areas with regard to local bowling, not just scratch, but certainly handicap. And the numerous tournament organizations that have made their way into the area. A lot of great things going down in the bowling world in Phoenix. Take a look at the pattern here. So you know what's going down. Pattern will be on your left. Wait for Mr. Erickson's spare shot, which is good. All right, so there's the lane condition. 38 feet, 50 ULs, but a total mill count of 27.35. So you can see that shape, kind of that stair-step shape. 1.55 to 1 ratio on both the left and the right. A lot of 2-to-2s, though. 9 of them to be exact, so pretty flat, I would say, in the middle part of the lane. That will be the interesting part as this block continues to go on, right? Once we get into that transition, especially the righties will have to move left. Even the lefties in kind of figuring out where they're going to play. I've only seen I think I've seen one for sure. It's on 1 and 2, our guy Gerald over there. Ben Perry, of course, on 7 and 8. He's also in urethane. Gerald looked to be into something that's controllable as well. Dan using a little bit of that ball speed, or slower ball speed, maybe to his advantage. The stair step. Just heard Theo talking about the lane pattern and describing it. Game one is always interesting. Obviously, the first look at the pattern on the lanes. Theo did release the pattern, so players had an opportunity to at least kind of get an idea just in regard to shape, what they might have available to them with regard to distance, so they can kind of prepare and get that arsenal together. Ben Perry is moving right along towards perhaps the high game of game number 1. Okay, Dan. Can Steve Roberts, Greg Thompson Jr., Gerald Thompson. Not related, I'm pretty sure. Jeff Krause over on 1 and 2. Then Kevin Wilson, Josh Brown, Wyatt Truskowski, and Justin O'Donnell on 3 and 4 to our left. But that's you looking at the bottom right of your screen there. And then over on 9 through 12. Keith Dahmer, Brett Wolf, Kyle Ponzo, Carson Bell, Tyler Milbrandt, and Mikey McQuiston starting over there. Ben Perry, a couple of strikes away from opening up in the 250s. Quick look at, there's Duster. Then quick look at Kyle Ponzo, who won the Agent Ong Open last year. Again, more urethane in play over there. There's Keith Dahmer. Back over to Zwei here. 186 the high game on 5 and 6. And boy, that did not hook good. Certainly what Matt was expecting. Oof. Not what you're looking for there from Kyle, of course, and a couple of opens here in these last few frames. There's Mr. Perry. Keeps on getting better. Kyle Ponzo is about to enter the screen on the right. He can double to get into the 180s. Wow, he just got the 710 to fall late. Good spare there from Keith Dahmer off to the right. He's going to be in the 180s. And Perry will settle in the 240s, 245 with a spare. Well, that was a nice little break. Things already on the good fortune for Ben Perry, because he chopped that pin right off, but instead just went with the, or kind of bounced back off the curtain. 245 for Ben Perry. GT2, I believe he got to 201. Started well, had front four, and then got into a little bit of trouble late. So he shot 201. Ponzo is going to be in the 170s. Only a couple of 200 games on the higher end of the building. Chris Mays. Shout out to Chris, 231. And Cesar Padilla Jr. had a really good tournament last year, advancing very far into match play. He shot 200. So the high end of the building, and we'll see if that becomes a trend. Thank you to Sean Butterfield, who I met this morning. Is into a lot of this business, regards to broadcasting, live event production. Also does a lot of work with the MLB. But he's a bowler, originally from Nebraska. hanging out. He had a day off and decided to come up and watch the tournament. Steve Roberts. Nice game by Steve there, 212. So 3 200 games over here on the high side of the, or the low side of the building. I beg your pardon. As we get set for game number 2. 1 200 on 9 and 10, and the high end, the first to get into game 2. They're already off and running. As we move over to game 2, we'll see. We'll have Brett Wolf, Ben Perry to be moving over to. No, I'm sorry. Ben Perry's going to skip a pair. Everybody is skipping a pair of lanes. I forgot about that. So 9 and 10 go to 5 and 6, 11 and 12 go to 7 and 8, and so forth and so on. Again, just one squad today. Squads B, C, and D will take place tomorrow. Squad times will be 7 a.m. local, or really just to keep it light. Arizona does not give into daylight savings time, so it's technically Mountain Standard Time here. But the right time to think about is Pacific time, so it'll be 7 a.m. Pacific. But 9 Central, 10 Eastern. So we'll go, I believe it's 7, 1, and 6 tomorrow. Or something along those lines, very close to it. And then the Desperado will be immediately after. As we get you underway here with game number 2. Early shout out to our guy Carl Ong, who is, of course, got the Agent Ong. The trilogy is on its way. That'll be in October, where Theo then handles some of the tournament directing aspects of that event. Agent Ong in my home group. Need yourself a house? Give Carl a call. Brett Wolf. So the joke this morning was, and I'm not sure if it was a true joke, but Brett walked into the building with 1 bowling ball. At least I should say he had 1 bag. Right? It looked like he had 1 ball in said bag. Now, I wouldn't be shocked, of course, if he only had 1 ball indeed. While Ben Perry goes right next door and continues on the path he's been on, again, opening with 245. I am working on my birthday. Hello to John. Thank you very much also, John, for your happy birthday. I missed that. Matt Jones. I mentioned Sean earlier. Shout out to Eric. I see Miss Mays watching as well. I am indeed working on my birthday. Actually, Theo, once he set the date or thinking about the dates, I told him what day it was going to be. I'm happy, though, it is Friday, because Friday is just the one squad. And so I'll have a chance to at least just relax and prepare for tomorrow. Certainly missing home, though. Missed the fam. Got a nice call from my kids this morning. Those kind of calls hit different now. And those of you who are parents kind of understand where I'm coming from. Because now they can, well, they've been expressing themselves with their language, so they know what the deal is. But it was nice to hear a happy birthday, Dad, happy birthday, Daddy, on the FaceTime this morning. Look forward to getting home on Sunday night or early Monday morning and hanging out with them. I'm off theoretically for the next 2 weeks. So we got Keith Dahmer. Oh, Keith's showing a little bit of shape there. I'm curious what ball he's throwing. Jeff Krause, Brett Wolf, Gerald Thompson here. We've got 2 lefties on 5 and 6, which is pretty good to keep an eye on here. Tyler Milbrandt over on 7 and 8. He is crossing with Mikey McQuiston. And we got John Ball. John Ball. Then we got Taylor Esping, Sean Grant, and Jalen Mabry nearby. They're over on 9 and 10. Once the first standings are updated on Tournament Bowl, which will be very soon, as this is the time that Theo takes the iPad out and grabs everyone's score, and then uploads those immediately to Tournament Bowl. Once that happens, I will then post the link for you. It's actually happening. It looks like it's happening right now in real time. I'll wait till it's all said and done before I'll add it now. Let's do it. And if it's not the right link, then you'll know. So I'm going to pin that. Let me know if it works. You should see a few scores already being entered. And then, of course, you'll be able to filter simply by squad. I might change that just to reflect this squad so no one gets confused tomorrow. We'll do it again just to make sure.
If they have an asterisk, they're a senior.
All right, pinned it again. It's going to take you simply just to this squad. If you see asterisks by names of players in the standings, that indicates that they are senior players. I'll double check with Theo if that allows them the opportunity to maybe earn a separate or additional check. But old Brett Wolf just continues on. Just keeps on striking like man's been striking since before a lot of us were born. It feels that way. (2002) USBC Masters champion. A couple of decent starts on 7 and 8. And Tyler Milbrand. I just learned that Tyler is from the Chicagoland area, originally from Lincolnwood, Illinois. Those of you know anything about the Chicagoland area, that would be, that's north. It gets right into the northwest suburbs, right near Niles and various suburbs like that, but it's not too far from the city limits. I told him I spent a little bit of time every now and then after school, Lincolnwood Mall. I went to Lane Tech, which is also on the north side of the city. Still got family that lives there. Chris Mays, by the way, has made his way to 3-4. And you can see Chris bottom right of your screen. He's coming off that 231 game. In fact, boy, everybody on 3-4 right now. Strike, spare, three-bagger, strike, spare, three-bagger, double, spare, spare. Zweig, Perry, and Mays on 3-4 at the moment. That's a great question, JP. I will ask our tournament director that. Hopefully it means something cool. Maybe it means he has the high game of game one, which more than likely he does. Still striking next door. Zweig, bottom right of your screen. So double, spare, spare, double for Zweig. Mays with a 5-pin to deal with. Chad Lucci over there on 1 and 2. Krause. Jeff Krause is a very talented chef with regard to certainly food, dessert, but he's the owner of the Crepe Bar in Tempe, Arizona. Great dude. Met him at the Agent Ong a couple of years back. He created this food list in an Apple iPhone note that I still receive updates on when he changes something out or fixes something. He's working on something else in Mesa, Arizona, which should be coming soon. Well, the foul lights certainly are working here this afternoon. A couple of players got to do a little bit of adjustment to their footing, maybe take a half step back on the approach. All right, let's refresh my link. And it looks like just about all standings are in. Got about 37. Looks like 37 players. And in the past, actually, this particular squad on the Friday hasn't had this many entries. The 7 a.m. actually gets a fairly decent amount, which is always surprising to me. But I have to remember that there are people in the world who enjoy the mornings more than others, like me, who does not enjoy mornings, generally speaking. But the 7 and the noon squads typically are well attended. Then once we get into that 5, 6 o'clock squad, it's players who are figuring out if they should re-enter, right, based on either what happened today or tomorrow. You can re-enter this tournament, by the way. So if you are at home thinking about bowling, you can bowl a squad. You have the opportunity to re-enter. And then if you bowl once or twice and you say, you know what, I'm going to give it one more go, then you got the Desperado squad. Nicely done there by Keith Dahmer, making the 210. I believe Theo ran a nice special this year as well that got you a discount. Essentially, if you paid for your first entry, which will be the full amount, he gave you a discount on any re-entry after that. And a couple players in this squad took advantage. There's a couple players already scheduled to bowl tomorrow because of that deal. Wolf. Oh, a little mean 9-pin here early. That was like the hyenas of the original Lion King animated movie. Ooh, 9-pin. Say it again. Ooh, 9-pin. There's a good one from Gerald. Yeah, John, I mean, there's hello, Alley Cat action, by the way, and JP. Leia is in the building. Leia's actually right next to me. She is supporting her BF Tyler. Hello to Mama's wife, too, who I did see, and she wished me a happy birthday. Thank you very much. Oh, you're right, John. Thank you very much. Carl is running a win a spot during the weekend. So I believe the AOO signifies players who are entered into that kind of separate event itself. And I believe make sure I got the correct details. I don't know how many it'll take per squad, but I think the leader of the squad, if you're in the winner spot, of course, will earn an Agent Ong entry. A lot of overlapping collaborations, of course, with Theo and Carl across their events. But John, you were just about there. John's, of course, running his own tournaments these days with the TAT, Desert Southwest. As I mentioned at the Open, a lot of great stuff to bowl. Nice shot there by Jeff. Sets himself up nicely, too. He can get to 210 here. Let's take a quick look next door. Chris Mays, who started very well, ran into some issues in frames 6 and 7. So he can get to 191. That's spare strike for him. Ben Perry, spare strike would get him to 228. And then Matt Zwei can still get to 233. This is Chad. All right, he gets to 211 over there. And a couple of, we've seen some higher scores so far on this low end of the building where we are, which is great. Always helps the live stream when scores are higher in the particular area. All right, while Zweig is waiting, we'll go back next door. Brent Prentice checking in. Thank you for your support, Brent. I am everywhere. Just got off the road Tuesday. Tuesday night was the U.S. Women's Open show. Of course, I was there for a good portion of the event on behalf of Bowl TV. Great event. Hope you guys had a chance to watch. I hope you subscribe to Bowl TV. It's a great platform, and you get to hear me on there a lot, especially with the Professional Women's Bowling Association Tour. The U.S. Women's Open was great. Shout out to New Wei Finn of Singapore. Just a dominant performance if you watch that show on CBS Sports Network. That one is through the nose for Brett as well. So spare strike will put him in the 180s, 184 to be exact. 2 splits this game, and of course that devastating 9-pin. Milbrand's going to be in the 2 teens. Nice job here by Tyler. Wyatt will cover up the 6-pin, and he will be in the 190s. To me, the pattern is already pretty fair. I don't think you can just throw it right. And I've seen some players, not a ton, again with reactive, but if your ball speed's slower, like Dan Quilt we were talking about in game one, he was able to see some shape on the outside part of the lane. There's a good example of that right there. That was reactive. That one had some giddy up on it. You take the rule of 31, it's a 38-foot pattern, so breakpoint would suggest it's 7. And I think urethane will be the play for a lot, though. Question is, again, when we get to games 5, 6, and sometimes you really won't know probably until about maybe the second squad tomorrow, and certainly squad 3 tomorrow night. And what I'm saying is, I'm talking about the amount of times the pattern will have been laid out. And tomorrow, each time it lays out, right, it plays flatter. It gets to be a little bit truer. Learned that over the course of my time watching professional bowling. When you have one squad today, it's hard to dictate. You can get an idea, but it's hard to dictate what's going to happen. Tomorrow will be an interesting watch, each and every squad. When we get in the morning, there will be a bowl with the pros, a little pro-am tonight as well. I understand got about 80 bowlers who will be competing and sharing the lanes with some of their favorite professionals here locally. Brianna Cote is going to be bowling the tournament. She will be in the pro-am tonight. Chris Mays with a happy birthday. I appreciate that. All right, Gerald. Mr. Thompson will shoot 171. Just like that, we're moving into game 3. Now, when I got off the plane yesterday, folks, I don't know if you are aware. I don't know if this made national news, but it was 117 degrees. Not as soon as I got off the plane, but that was the high for yesterday. 117 here in Metro Phoenix. And I felt like it was every bit of 117. So a couple things that have already happened on the birthday. I've experienced a temperature that I had never experienced before in my life. And I feel like I've been to Vegas a decent amount of times. Still hadn't got to 117 though. And the first wow that I've seen from Nick Paredes on lane 7 as he leaves the super washout. One of my favorite individuals waiting on the world to change. John Mayer is bowling on lanes 9 and 10. Kyle Michalowski is also here. I saw him this morning. So with the 117, I texted Theo and said, I will never forgive you for moving your tournament to June. When the tournament officially got going, of course, 4 years ago, he had it in September, which fantastic. Love it. Good fall temp. Very solid. Still a little warm, but, not 117 warm. But he did remove a game from the squads this year. No, I don't think he actually did. I think we were at 7 games before. But he did lower the amount of individuals who advanced the match play from 32 to 24. So that means we'll be done a little bit early on Sunday, which never was an issue for me. Very thankful that Phoenix has later flights, and they also have some red eyes. So I've always been able to get home or leave on a Sunday night. But he made up for it completely this morning by getting me a lemon nothing bunt cake, which I appreciate, as well as some balloons. So he probably felt bad that it was 117 when I got here. But I appreciate Theo truly as a tournament director and for continuing to have Boldstream TV and myself back. Thank you to the good people here, as well as in Metro Phoenix and the surrounding areas that I've gotten to know pretty well in the course of a few years now. And some of them are, of course, watching, whether they're at work and preparing themselves to compete tomorrow or on their way. Troy Blickenstaff has joined us on 7 and 8. I'm used to seeing Troy at a lot of the Southwest events, either here, Agenong, New Mexico Open, for example. Jeff Krause, Gerald Thompson moved over to 9 and 10. White Skowski, and who else is down there now on 11 and 12? I'll tell you in a minute. In front of us, Sean Grant, Taylor Esping on 5 and 6. Kaylee, there is a roster for the event. You can find that by clicking the standings link that is pinned atop. Everything is there, actually, in regards to what Tournament Bowl has for you. You'll be able to filter, especially tomorrow, you'll be able to filter by squad, so you can see the individual standings. You can see the total standings, of course. The individual standings are important because the top 4 in each squad do advance to match play in the finals on Sunday. And then once all is said and done there with regard to the squads, then the high 6 overall after that will also advance to match play. And then, of course, you have your final 2 players in the Desperado that will make up the 24-player field for Sunday's match play competition. Darren Tang has won 2 of the 3 events. I'll have to check with Theo. I didn't see his name on the roster. That doesn't mean he is not competing. Jacob Buttriff won it in year 2. If you are just joining us, this is Game 3 A Squad. First and only squad for today here at Lakeview Lanes in Sun City, Arizona. Shout out to Mike Dermeyer, also our guy Reed here, the wonderful individuals who help run the bowling center. First it was Mike a couple years ago, and then that has transferred to Reed as Mike continues to grow in his role here in the Sun City community. But thank you to those individuals. Great hosts. It's a great center as well. This is a great community. If you're unfamiliar with it, I would think that you put in a lot of time, a lot of hard work in your career, or professional life, and you chose, and maybe you lived in the Midwest or somewhere where it was cold, maybe the Northeast. And after you completed work and you retired, you said, I don't want to shovel any more snow. You would move to Sun City, where there is always sunshine, typically speaking. There's a gazillion golf courses around, ton of golf carts. We've got tennis courts. There's a bowling center. There's a couple bowling centers, actually, in the community. And some really good people that generally the last couple of years I'll see them as I'm setting up. They'll ask a couple questions. There's always a women's league that finishes up in the morning right before we kind of get underway with the first squad on Friday, and the same thing today. I also like Lakeview because they have, there are power outlets just about everywhere I need them. And so it actually makes packing a little bit easier because I know exactly how many cables I need, which is so rare. And I try to pack a lot of extra stuff just in case. You never know what you might run into But when you've been to the same center now 4 times, you know what to expect. And I appreciate Mike and his team. We'll have some Game 2 scores. I'm sure they're being updated right now as we speak. You can always refresh that Tournament Bowl link. In fact, it is refreshed. And Ben Perry is leading the way 73 over. DJ Neifel 44 over. Kyle Duster is third at 25 over for 2. Right now, Kevin Wilson is fourth, 19 over. Again, the top 4 will advance to match play automatically from this squad. Ooh, starting to see that 38-foot pattern show itself a little bit. Chad, give it a run. That one hooked. All of a sudden, boy, 5 and 6 has not been kind to Chad here. After he just came off the lanes next door and shooting 211. Chad 158, 211 for his first 2. Other players who are plus, Greg Thompson Jr. at plus 15, Chris Mays plus 11. So 6 players are plus through 2 games here on A Squad. John with a little bit of information for Taylor. Congrats, Taylor, winning a nice little check at the most recent Desert Southwest TAT event. Wonder if Hunter is going to be competing this weekend. The Mays brothers are actually a really good example of what I have witnessed in my time in the bowling industry, especially kind of being in this chair, of course, whether it's Bowl TV or my own Bowl Stream TV. But especially young players and watching that growth and development, in particular Chris and Hunter, kind of remind me of watching really good youth bowlers as they continue on the various levels. Some bowl collegiately, of course, then moving on to maybe not the professional world yet. Maybe they want to bowl a ton of high-level amateur stuff, but now you see a lot of youth bowlers bowling these types of events much earlier before they bowl on tour or get to that point as well. But Chris and Hunter, their mom, dad have always been really, really great to see and talk to as Chad's trying to figure something out. Tyler Milbrand had thrown one in the channel. Seen a couple of bowlers throw it in the channel. The old backup ball on the 3-9 there. That's a nice two-handed trick from Troy on 7 and 8. I think we're starting to see some transition right now because the other thing about a pattern too at this tournament, you're going to get various skill levels. And so not everyone is going to play the lanes in a similar fashion. Now, tomorrow we might see as the day goes on and enough learning has taken place. Wow, and then just a bone 9-pin on the spare attempt from Milbrand. That was brutal. Thank you, Tina. And speaking of Mother Mays, there she is. Thanks, Tina. I appreciate that. But in regards to just transition and how the players are going to play them, you anticipate everyone's just not going to be in the same area. Now, I will say this. I think there's enough players who are high level enough who have bowled on tour or currently bowl on tour, regional events, or other high level 10K events where the ability or the thought process is similar with regard to how they would play a pattern like this, which is why I think a good majority of the field, I would say probably 3/4 of it, without seeing everybody start, had urethane out on the ball return, and it was used. Chad's in that zone, I think, to where not only is he just trying to figure out where he should be playing, right, but then along with that, you're just trying to calm down and throw the best shot possible, because you can't really get a true read on anything if you don't throw it good. So that's what Chad, I'm sure, is going through right now. Milbrand, nice job there with the purple. Shout out to Michael Arcee next door, too. Does a lot of great work on clean garage doors. Seeing him bowl not only locally, he has supported Bowl Stream TV as well. I appreciate him. He's given, last year he gave me a cool super chat amount as we were in the wee hours on Saturday night at the New Mexico Open. Bottom right of your screen, but he will enter on the left. There's Michael. Thank you very much, Tina. The further left you go, it's clear. I thought it would be just based on the pattern shape and, again, the 2-to-2 loads being 9. 25 mils, 38 feet. Need a little bit of a full rack on 5 and 6. They already reset it once. So we might peruse lane 1 for a little bit. Looks like that's what we'll have to do for a moment. We'll watch Chris Mays' shot here. Looks like they did have to call that in, and they'll have that fixed in just a little bit. Oh, wow. Another brutal 9-pin. Man. All right, quick look next door. Now on the right side of your screen, that is a look at 9 through 12. I see someone with a 5-bagger down there. There's some opportunities at 230 and 220 on 11 and 12 in particular. Shoot, 249 possibly on 11 and 12 also. Brett Wolf, we always talk about legendary players and their styles being timeless, and that's a really good example of that. The smooth southpaw. See how quick the ball's hooking and reading the lanes once you get into the middle. The question is for those who will, of course, have to continue to chase it left, right? What balls do you want to throw? How can you get it through the front part of the lane, which looks like the fronts are going to go? This is a pretty high friction center too, right? There's a lot of bowling that goes on, and not just from the community. There are some really good sport leagues and other tournament sweepers that are hosted here. The good news is for a lot of these players, it's not their first time in the bowling center. So there is some understanding with regard to lane panels, which pairs are better, worse, etc. Hunter's kind of trying to figure it out too right now. Kind of feed it, he's trying to feed urethane a little bit, right, but not trying to overpower it. If you do that, if you catch it early, then it's going to hook a ton. Brett Wolf, bottom right, just left a 7-pin, wrapped a 7, in fact. And the unfortunate open frame there for Chris after working hard, made a split in the 7th and unable to convert the washout. Blickenstaff. Spare puts him in the 2 teens. Michelle Carey, appreciate you. Looking staff went the full backhand, I'm sorry, backup, excuse me, for the rest of that game after shooting a 2-8 with it. You saw that a couple of early shots on 7 and 8 started to hook extremely early for him, and he just went, you know what, I'm just going to go from the right side of the lane to the left side of the lane. And if you are a two-handed player, whether you are a two-handed righty or a two-handed lefty, you need to have that trick in your bag, without question. Now, if you're someone who is just one-handed and you've got that trick, boy, more power to you if you can add that as a one-handed player. Real quick look at 11 and 12. Wyatt. He's putting in the work down there. Now that's 7 in a row. .236, .213. A couple of scores already on the pair. One more here, that's in the 250s. 2.7 there, but he'll take that. Take that in a heartbeat. Wyatt shot 138, 195, so that was a must-needed game or must-have game. Every pin counts. He'll take that 246. All right, John Mayer can get to 200 even. Jeff Krause can max at 194. Approaching the 10th frame back over on 5 and 6. We'll take a look at back and see if Chad, Taylor, and Sean have figured something out here. 245 there for Krause. 9th frame here for Brandon. All right, I see what he did there. Well, Chad said, you know what? I'm just going to get what I can get on this pair and get out of here. And of course, he didn't start well, right? But 170 after all of that will not be the worst score by any stretch. It would certainly take that. And of course, just as I say it, he takes one and will shoot 159. Taylor gets to 176. Grant can still shoot 212. Tyler Milbrandt next door. Milbrandt's spare strike will put him at 175. Jameer just went crossover Brooklyn for a strike. Grant now will be in the 190s with a spare here in good count. In a moment, we will be joined by one of the best gentlemen, certainly in this area. I assume he's going to bowl the tournament. We'll find out. I'll let him tell you. But I met him way back in our early college bowling days. And actually, the last time we shared a broadcast together was the Agent Ong Open in 2023. And a missed single pin, unfortunately, there for Sean Grant late. Some miscues for some important players here late. Last couple shots here. .197 with a couple of opens in that one for John. Big moment here for Gerald, who has gotten off to had a little bit of a shaky start with his footwork during the first two games. Now 2 more in the 10th here. He's going to be in the 220s, but the first hit will put him in the 2 teens. Still opportunity at 2-0 though. And DJ, who just moved over to 7 and 8, we'll get a good look at him in a moment. I can't remember the last time I saw him or which tournament, but he was an eye-opener for sure. Threw it so well. Jaden Mabry. Why does Jaden Mabry's name sound familiar? Did she go to FDU? Fairleigh Dickinson, is that right? I know there was a player on Fairleigh Dickinson, and I was at the Lansing, Michigan Regional for the NCAAs. There was a player who had a connection to Phoenix. I believe her brother at the time, or at some point went to Grand Canyon, something along those lines. Or maybe Arizona State, one or the other, because Kerry, their coach, was a former ASU collegiate player. All right, 203 for Gerald, and Brandon will get us to 178. All right, back over to 7 and 8 as we have now reached game number 4 here. Things are moving right along. We appreciate you tuning in. If you wouldn't mind to, this is your happy birthday gift to me. If you have not subscribed to the Bowlstream TV, I'd appreciate it if you do. Hit the thumbs up on every event from this weekend. And if you haven't shared with somebody what's happening, what you're watching, A Squad today, I'd appreciate that as well. Let's get all of as many viewers as we can to watch the Cactus Classic this weekend. Someone's going to win $10,000. All right, so the voice or the person that I teased earlier, speaking of pastries, I believe it was he and his wife 2 years ago who brought me a box of pastries. I don't know, I can't remember if it was donuts, cookies, or everything in between.
They're coming tomorrow. It's I'm saving that for tomorrow when I actually probably bowl. I'm not wasting it today. Plus, I was talking to GT this morning, and he said he was going to bring you a cupcake for your birthday.
He did.
I didn't want to, interfere with that.
He did.
He's a nice guy, isn't he?
He was fantastic. I appreciated that. Theo brought a nothing but cake as well. So at first I said when he brought the cake, by the way, this is Mike Hardesty. We should let everyone know that in case you don't recognize that voice. Mike, of course, lives in the area You too in real estate still, Mike. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep. That's what I'm so fancy today, dressed up, ready to show some houses and make some money so I can donate tomorrow.
Did what squad are you bowling tomorrow?
Most likely the 5 o'clock squad, the last squad.
Okay.
That way, if I bowl bad, I don't have to bowl again. I don't have to think about it. Plus, I'm hoping by then the field will figure out what the heck is going on, and we can break them down a little better because right now I'm really glad I'm sitting here.
That's a great point. It's something that I talked about, and now someone who is going to bowl the tournament can expound upon that a little bit. So one thing I did mention, generally speaking, the first squad, whatever tournament it is, unrelated to like a PBA or PWBA event, we're generally speaking, everyone's probably going to have a similar mindset on how to break the lanes down. Not everyone will, because everyone's skill level is always a little bit different, even at that level. But at a tournament like this, you get various skill levels, generally on every squad. And so sometimes that means players who would have an idea, quote unquote, have one way of thinking. Players who might be in that next tier underneath might have another way. And then players who are still kind of figuring out the game, but they've progressed enough that they'd like to try out and see where their skills truly are,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
They're going to have a various level. And so you don't quite know what you're going to get, especially early in the tournament. But by the time, these squad bowls, which is when you would hit the lanes, between the people in the field on your squad, but just general, more or less common sense after watching might come together and say, I think collectively we should do it this way.
Yeah, hopefully by then the picture is clear, right? Like as you said, there's so many different styles and, levels of excellence here. We'll put it that way, that I think some of the guys that tried to move in early because they saw friction are now in jail because they are so flat in the middle. I was watching GT a lot, and the guys that had early success on the right side seemed like they were playing out, throwing urethane, keeping their angles really tight, not opening it up, and honestly, just simple bowling, making your spares. I just got back from nationals about a month ago, so watching this is giving me a little bit of PTSD because they look a lot like team event at nationals, to where it's
about the same length too, right?
37, 38 feet, completely flat in the middle, a decent amount of volume. There's quite a bit of volume out there, so shaping it at all, it feels like they're going to play one way, but they're just not. They're going to be tough. I mean, I'd be surprised if it took more than even to make the cut, and it's just a matter of keeping your composure and really paying attention to what's going on around you and making your spares. And it sounds simple, but that's the hardest thing in the world to do.
My guy waiting on the world to change. Gives us the old 2 thumbs up on that one.
I mean, if you're smiling in game 4 of this, there's something wrong with you.
Well, John's a pretty nice guy overall.
John's a great guy.
So smiling, I think, is in his DNA.
We should give John a shout out. I don't know anybody else working as hard as he has the last couple of years to improve his game. And I think it's really, really starting to show. He's, cashing in CBE tournaments and bowling well in league. And, I think that effort hasn't gone unnoticed by people around the valley, that he's really been putting in the work and the time to elevate his game. So kudos to him.
Speaking of putting in the work, I saw Kyle, who is on your screen on lane 7, putting in some work. He was traveling, I think, with Chris Kelso and D-Ron Booker on tour this year.
Oh, it's not bad company.
Yeah, they ended up they were at Royal Scots, which is in Lansing, Michigan. I was just talking about Lansing. Nice, I was going to say almost a nice spare there on a very tough leave by Brandon. That was the 1-6 with the 3 falling out, of course. But they were, I believe, in preparation. They were headed to Jackson at Dave Small's spot. I don't remember which tournament was held there. Might have been maybe the Players Championship or Tournament Champion, one or the other. They stopped. I was there for the NCAA Regional, which is where I saw Jaden Mabry, who bowls for Fairleigh Dickinson, because Fairleigh Dickinson was at that regional. And I just said, boy, Jaden Mabry goes to Fairleigh Dickinson, I think. And Tina confirmed that for me, but I knew I wasn't missing anything. There was some kind of connection.
Yeah, she throws it pretty good. I've never seen her bowl before.
Yeah.
I was kind of watching in practice, seeing how she was playing the lanes, and she kind of looked like she had a pretty decent look at the beginning. But yeah, they're just nasty for anyone watching. Like, it's a little easier in person to kind of see what these bowlers are going through. But bring your spare ball, and a good attitude.
You know, it's funny. I just came back from the U.S. Women's Open, and they were very, very, very difficult, especially during qualifying days 2 and 3. For some people, every day, but days 2 and 3 for sure were very tough. And so when I saw 38 feet, I'm like, okay, you know, they'll have some friction, they'll have some shape. Just looking at the graph that Theo had posted a couple days ago. And but you know, it doesn't compare obviously to see bowling balls go down the lane, and again coupled with where everyone is started to play, and then kind of those moves to where maybe you move a little left quick early. Maybe you're thinking like, if I do it early, I'll get it out the way. I might be out here by myself. I don't know how Brandon just did what he did. Chad was trying to do something like that on 5, and it just wasn't working out well. He had to throw plastic the last couple frames just to try to save 170.
Yeah, this building typically hooks quite a bit. This is an older surface, and on the house shot, this is probably one of the easiest centers in the valley, but it tends to be a little more difficult when they put patterns out and they're a little bit flatter, because that ball tends to pick up a little bit early and kind of quit down lane, similar to anybody that bowls at Kyrene where the Agent Ong is. To where, you know, you start putting out patterns and the gutter doesn't hook, and then things get interesting because your ball sees it right away. And you kind of got to force it through that spot and stay right as long as you can and kind of let it develop. Kind of how Michael Arce did over there on lane 8. Just kind of keep your angles tight, roll it off your hand, get it going forward. Because if you touch those grips at the bottom, you are in trouble.
Well, I'm going to give Michael a lot of credit because he was over on 3 and 4 watching his ball miss the head pin left.
Yeah, he's been struggling.
A lot.
Yeah.
And so, but that's a drastic move right on this. You know, to go back right. I don't know if he started right, but then to just be confident and throw it well enough to get a read and then kind of settle in after you're trying to play 4th, 5th arrow. And he wasn't even trying to play 4th, 5th arrow. He was just still in the track.
Yeah, he was in the track. He played the track the first game, and then we had a little conversation, and I kind of told him, I think you're in jail where you're standing, and you need to get your feet further right and kind of close your angles down and get that mindset that, you know, you shoot 190 on a bad pair, and maybe on a good pair, you know, you're lucky and you shoot 220, 230, and it's, you know, this is not the mindset where you're going to strike. This is the mindset where you're going to grind, catch a double, make your spares. So if you throw a bad shot and go Brooklyn and leave a 5-pin, don't worry about it. Spare it up, move on. So yeah, I think he got his feet back right, but you know, he's still learning too. He like, I think we have to remind people he's only been bowling for like 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, maybe 2.5 years. I bowled league with him this year in this center, and just the improvement in those, you know, whatever it was, 34 weeks is kind of mind blowing, because he had a lot of success early with urethane playing out and really just getting a mitt full. That was kind of like his MO. And as the season went on, he really improved getting his feet left, softening up that hand, and opening his angle. So he's another one that he's gotten a lot better. But he puts in the work. He probably bowls 5 days a week. So, yep, he's another one always kind of rooting for.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I maybe 2.5 years, but no more than that.
I mean, because the types of events that he bowls, right?
He is not scared.
No, not at all.
He is not. Like, he asked me the other day, he's like, you going to bowl? And I was kind of on the fence, and he was like, I'm bowling. I'm bowl as many times as it takes to make it. Like, that's just his attitude, you know? So.
I love that. Great dude, too.
He is a good
I was just talking about him. Appreciate
he
his
fixed my
support.
garage door a couple weeks ago. He's a great dude.
And I was just about to say, right, he's got his own business, does garage doors, Acclaim garage doors.
He's helped several of my clients out. They repaired the motor in my garage door literally 2 weeks ago. So if you need anything out there, he's your guy.
You know, bowling is just that one, well, it's not the one sport or industry, but it feels like, right, because in our industry, not everyone is a pro, right? And so people have other ways to support themselves or in different careers and industries. In this case, we're talking about garage doors. So everyone in bowling generally has a person for something.
Absolutely.
Roofing, garage doors,
Yeah.
baking. We got a chef bowling. Jeff is bowling.
A great chef.
We've got real estate. You, Carl. I mean, it's everything.
Yeah, the Thursday night league that we bowl here, there's literally like someone on every pair that we network with. Like you said, electrician, plumber, roofer. It's awesome. But that's another reason why I love bowling personally is the community. Like sometimes it's about the competition. It's never about the money, at least for me, but it's about the people. You know, I grew up in a bowling center, so this is where I'm comfortable.
We'll take a look at scores because Theo was working his way from the low end to the high end to get those for us. Well, not for us, but for you to view. That's what Theo was working on. This is game 4, though, if you're just joining us. My name is Emil Williams Jr. Pleasure to be here with you. It's the 4th annual Cactus Classic. $10,000 to the winner. That will take place on Sunday afternoon. We'll have 24 players, a little bit of a different change there with regard to who advances to match play. We're taking 4 players now from each squad. Last year or the last 3 years, it had been 7. Taking the top 4 from each squad.
He just updated the scores after 3. In fact, leader is on 7 and 8. DJ
Kneifel.
plus 80. Then you got Ben Perry plus 66. And third is Kyle Ponzo at plus 31. Tied for 4th is GT and Kyle Duster at plus 15. Kevin Wilson is plus 12 in 6th place. And then Chris Mays is 7th, and he is even. We got Matt Zweig just behind them, minus 4, tied for 8th with Sean Whitelaw. So, yeah, if you are plus 15 is the number as of right now. DJ has a great game. He throws it pretty good. He has really good touch. When he has that purple in his hand, he can be dangerous for sure.
That word is often associated with really good players, right? Because not everybody has good touch, especially at the bottom.
No, he has great touch, especially for a lefty. Look at John smiling. What a guy. Having the time of his life.
He looks great.
I know.
Yeah, he hasn't stopped smiling, actually.
I know.
Shout out to Coco Jen, by the way. I see you in the chat. The best way to do it. Trying to have fun.
He's trying to have fun, and I'm going to have a swear jar up here. Keep my composure.
Mike, if you wouldn't mind to just repeat those standings.
Sure.
For you.
I'll go first place. We got DJ Kneifel, 680, 80 over. Second is Ben Perry at plus 66. Third is Kyle Ponzo, plus 31. Tied for 4th is Kyle Duster and Greg Thompson at plus 15. 6th is Kevin Wilson, plus 12. 7th is Christopher Mays, even. Tied for 8th is Matt Zweig and Sean Whitelaw at minus 4. And then we could throw in Jonathan Mayer, the smiley man in front of us, is minus 5 and 10th. Some of these scores are wild. This is crazy.
There were a few scores that I had to ask if they were mistakes.
But hey, I mean, every game 240 has one high game pot, so I guess you can't complain about that. Because if you were comparing it to the Thursday league that we bowl, if you shot 300, you would be splitting it with someone.
Did you bowl last night?
No, our league is over.
League's over.
It's the fall league.
Gotcha.
Put it this way: there's the whole house is full, so it's 96 bowlers. I think this year we had 12 people average over 230 out of 96. So it's pretty high scoring. Are you bowling at all?
Not this summer.
Not this summer,
No.
but you bowled in the fall?
I did.
Nice.
I did.
Because I remember last time you here, you said you got to bowl like once a month. You were in a league, but you were rarely able to participate.
Yeah, you know, ironically enough, I stopped being a regular, and another great shot from DJ. I stopped being a regular because I just wasn't home a lot on weekends. And ironically enough, the year I do that was the year that I actually bowled the most. I was actually home more last year, or last bowling season, fall season, than any of the previous years. But I do plan to bowl again. The schedule's kind of always up in the air, although I generally have an idea of what to expect. Nicely done there. The result wasn't what you'd like, but, I mean, between Michael and, of course, that shot from John, and there's been some other players, again from the start with urethane, though, that suggest the out was available.
Yeah, there actually looks like there's hook on the gutter, but you have to get it there really early.
And that can be trouble. You don't want to get too steep.
It can be trouble.
You don't want to get too steep.
I don't know how any of these guys are playing in because there is no shim whatsoever. I have no idea how you could try to be that soft. It's unfortunate from John. Still 200.
Last couple games has gone 197, now 200 even. Yeah, great call in regards to shim, meaning, and you know, we get every level of viewer across bowling. So shim in this case meaning hold.
Sure, push, yeah.
There has been no hold, or no one's really attempted to create holding, which again, difficult when you've got just varying levels of players and skill sets in the field.
Yeah, the way I see the lane, I like to play the shim. I want to kind of trap it in that shim. If I can find the push, I want to kind of get just a little bit of right of that. So if I miss left, it kind of stands up and sees it and doesn't necessarily go left. So where's Kyle from on lane 7? I know you said he was on tour with some of those guys.
That's a great
So
question.
is he a New Mexico guy? If he was with D-Ron?
That's a great question. I think that's the trio that decided to room together on tour. But with that said, let's see where Kyle is from. He's from, looks like Las Vegas.
Okay.
That area, Henderson specifically,
Yeah.
which is a suburb, according to PBA.com.
I heard Darren Tang is not coming, which I'm not upset about because he tends to win that money every year.
I mentioned his name, of course, as a two-time champion of this tournament. He won the first and the third version of it, and I wasn't sure if he was going to be here. I didn't see his name on the roster.
He's won it every year he's bowled, so he didn't bowl the second year.
Right, he's 2 for 2.
He's 2 for 2
for him.
He's 20K.
So, and I said, well, that means if he's not coming, then next year,
Yeah.
that just means he's probably going to win.
He's just giving everyone else a little bit of hope.
Matt Jones in the chat, who doesn't generally need someone to rep for him because he's very good at what he does. Asking,
Matt Jones is a bad man. Let's not mix words here.
Can you rep for him?
He's a bad man.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He doesn't need anyone to rep for him.
He's in the Hall of Fame. Man, which event? You won the
tat.
He won the main event.
The main event, and he hit the progressive pot for an extra 21,000 and some change, I think.
That's incredible. I saw the video.
You know what's awesome about Matt, and I don't think he'll mind me saying this. I think he's been elite for a long time, but I think in pressure situations, sometimes the moment got to him. But in the last, 4 or 5 years, that's fewer. He's really taken advantage of those moments. And the TAT is a prime example. For anyone that's ever bowled it, that format is incredibly difficult. And then to get up there in the finals and dominate and then throw a strike for $20,000 is I can't throw a strike for $10 in King of the Hill. So to throw a strike for 20,000 is absurd. So I think that's where he has personally elevated his game, and he's very comfortable with who he is and how he sees the lanes. And it doesn't matter if they're hard or easy. He's one of those guys that he's going to be in the hunt.
Yeah, got a great ball roll. I would call it unique in that sense where
It's a little voodoo-ish.
he can do some things that other players cannot.
Yep.
And that generally gives you an advantage.
Yep.
In most situations. He's had himself a banner year. It's certainly going to be better no matter what happens here this week. He's also lined up for a little bit of an action match versus Kyle Troop.
That's right. I forgot about that.
At this year's Agent On Trilogy tournament. That'll be in October.
And you're going to be back
And
for
now
that?
it'll be right here on Bullstream
Let's go.
TV. Taking a look at Steve Roberts finishing up. GT2 just finished up as well. This was 11 and 12 actually was a pair that saw some high scores. And in fact,
game.
who just went over? Who shot 240 and came over here to 7 and 8? No, it was Wyatt. He was moving right.
Oh.
Wyatt shot 240. That might have been 9 and 10. Someone shot 240 on 11 and 12. Let's refer to the.
A couple games ago, Duster shot 240 on one of those pairs in the middle. I think it was 11 and 12.
Maybe it was DJ. But, however, Sean Whitelaw did shoot 246. As you said, too, the opportunities to win some high games with 240. You'll take that every time.
All day. Let's go. Yeah, it looks like Sean and, yeah, you're right. They both shot 246.
Appreciate everybody who has reached out in regards to birthdays. Again, thank you very much. It's weird that it's not the first time I've ever streamed or worked on my birthday. For a couple years in a row, the U.S. Women's Open was actually finishing up on my birthday. I tend to also be working on Father's Day at that same event, which did take place. But, again, just thank you to everyone for not only your support, but your well wishes, kind thoughts, positive thoughts. I got Mike Hardesty, who, after I've been back in this area, or I should say started streaming events here, we've reconnected. And he was a fun dude to bowl against in college. He and his entire team. You'll enjoy this, actually. I got a chance to see Will Haverland.
Oh, nice.
In Cleveland this year. I don't think I knew he lived there.
He's been there for
a long time.
10 or 15 years. Yeah.
At this point. But he stopped up on, I forgot one of the show days for our week in Cleveland on the women's tour. And so I got a chance to catch up with him for a little bit. That was great.
I saw a video. He posted a video maybe like a couple weeks ago of him throwing it, and he was kind of hooking the lane. And I said, I messaged him and said, when did you stop throwing it 20 miles an hour up 10? Because in college, that boy did. He put some heat on it.
He did.
He knew how to throw it hard and harder. Good player though, great player.
We officially move now into Game 5.
College bowling, those were the days. I'm actually reuniting with Jake McEwen and a couple of the guys from our team to form a nationals team.
Oh, nice.
Because we decided we're not getting any younger. And we do have a pact where we get together every October. The last weekend in October, there's a doubles tournament in Amarillo, Texas that we all go to. That's like our reunion. So Tina, Megan, all the girls go. A lot of the guys try to go. But we decided once a year's still not enough. So we're going to bowl nationals, and it's going to be fun. Those were the days, though. You guys had a wild team, too.
That's a good way to put it.
A lot of characters. Oh, look at GT backup ball. Oh, my goodness.
So this is interesting. I'm glad to some degree he's doing this, okay? So I watched Troy Blickenstaff.
Yep.
Struggle for about 3 frames, and struggle meaning his ball just would not see past the front part of the lane near the gutter. Just headpin, missing the headpin, right? And kind of a similar thing where we talked about. He ends up shooting a 3-9 backup but I think he ended up staying with the backup lefty, if you will, or the backup righty for the rest of the game. And I was talking about how that's a tool that every two-handed player should have in the bag. And kudos to those who can do it with one hand. And here's
No one can do it with
GTT.
one hand except for GT. It's impossible to get your thumb out of it.
Here is GT.
You know who's good at going back up is Cesar.
Interesting.
Like, really good. So I bet you if
bowled really good
Cesar
last year,
sees GT
Wait.
throw a couple, he's going to try it. He'd be crazy not to. That's incredible. That's incredible. For anyone that bowls, try doing that with your thumb in it and then immediately go to the urgent care so they can reattach your thumb and elbow.
Well, I mean, great shot again from Jaden Mabry. If you can, in my experience, right, and this is in regards to training, bowling training and development. If you can, one thing is you throw a football like off your hand to kind of get what your release, right? You'd like to feel that portion of it. But now I've heard, though, if you can back it up to some degree, it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can back it up, that's also the proper way to get yourself inside of the bowling ball. Now, this is what I've heard over the course of a couple of years. Not saying it's correct, just telling you what I've heard. So I think there's more players or more people who might be decent at it, and they don't know it because, of course, they've never tried it. That's ridiculous, though.
They might be decent at it, but he rotates around.
There is a difference.
Like, he's a freak.
Don't get me wrong. There is a difference.
I worry about him when he does it because,
someone
like,
practicing it.
yeah, it's. I mean, if you're Cesar and you're bowling right now and you're seeing GT do that to the right of you, you have to be thinking, I got to try that. There's no way I'm not trying that.
Is this, Mike, what we just talked about kind of in direct relation to just the way everyone started to play the lanes, which was of various ways? We had people playing right. GT was one of them. He started, I think, on 1 and 2 or somewhere nearby.
He did.
Yep. Playing them like he would prefer to play them. Outside, near the gutter, got urethane in his hand. He started well. I think he ended up shooting 2-0 or 190 that game. And then he moved to the high end. And, of course, I'm seeing him again for the first time since game 1. So a lot has since changed, obviously, to where he felt like he had to do it on the left side. But to be fair, I've only seen 2 lefties in this squad. Not saying that's all. No, 3, actually. 3.
There's Brett, DJ, and Ben Perry.
Now 4.
Yep, I don't know who that is.
My guy, I believe that is Nate. I think it's Nate Kiesick. If you're just joining us, folks, on the right of your screen, Greg Thompson Jr., who shot, I forgot the exact number, but 8+ in doubles at the Open Championships this year. He's so talented and has been for so long. Throwing the backup bowling ball on 7 and 8, front 4 with a purple hammer.
He likes to throw that purple ball, too. I do, too, for the record. And you're crazy if you don't.
But
I have a specific one. I throw a Kentucky purple 2018.
So for, and obviously urethane
Sorry,
is
yeah.
Urethane is just it's an interesting subject for a lot of people. But I always like to try to be as informative as possible. So when I have urethane discussions, especially with someone like yourself, my next question is, okay, so why do you like using urethane? Where does it help you, or where does it help your game? What hole does it fill in your arsenal, if you will?
So I personally don't understand but I don't bowl for a living, the bad vibes with urethane because it's a tool, right? You're using a tool. Some people might do a 2-inch pin or a 1-inch pin so your ball sees it and goes forward and you can play further right or play in the track and your ball doesn't respond to friction as much. And that's kind of what urethane does, is urethane sees it immediately and kind of blends out the pattern. So if I'm playing out and I can get on top of the pattern and I have a little bit of push, I'm going to throw urethane. I'm going to let that ball shape and go forward, and it's going to give me a larger room for air. And hopefully leave makeable things, because if not, I'm not a professional. My touch isn't as good. I would have to move left on this pattern, and then I'm moving into the flattest part of the pattern. And then that's when you start leaving some really ugly things with circles. So urethane for me is a tool to blend out the pattern. Does it work all the time? No. But when it works, try not throwing it. You're going to get beat. Because it also breaks down the pattern completely different than reactive. So you have to be aware of who's throwing it, where they're throwing it, and how it's being used, and what your move off of it is, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pushing oil down. A lot of players certainly use it to, especially on shorter oil patterns, which I thought was maybe the thinking for a lot of these players, helping to stretch the pattern, especially on the fresh, to help to create a little hole down lane.
I would be interested in one of the squads tomorrow. If you had a good cross, talking to people before practice and saying like, hey, I'm going to throw some surface up together. You throw plastic or urethane up the middle. Let's try to get a little shim, a little hook. We know we're not going to get that on every pair,
Right.
but maybe for game one, we can create a good environment that we can take advantage of, and it's a lot easier starting out plus 20 or plus 30 than it is minus 50. So, I mean,
And those pins could go a long way for a 7-game block.
yeah, so I'll be curious to kind of see how that plays out. But, yeah, the first squad is it's a crapshoot. People are making educated guesses. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. But what GT is doing is not giving me confidence, because I cannot do that.
On your best day.
No. Yeah.
And what we're talking about here, folks, again, is GT2, in particular on 7 and 8. Give you a little bit of this. Watch this replay there.
It's a bad man.
That's what folks like Mike are dealing with here right now. But Mike gets to deal with that specifically tomorrow. Wow.
There's a bunch of killers in Phoenix. I don't think Phoenix gets enough credit for being a bowling hub, but there is a lot of talent in the city.
Hook. Wow, he got another one.
If you're watching, you guys should just stay home.
That was Ryan Howard, by the way, who got the 9-pin out on 5 and 6. Again, Ryan Howard, Cesar Padilla Jr.
Ryan's a good player. I'm not familiar with him, but I remember him from the Agent Ong. I made match play this year, and he won a couple matches. He was bowling to the left of me.
John Ball rounding out 5 and 6. Kyle Ponzo also throwing urethane next door on 3 and 4. You can see him left, also the bottom right of your screen. And he gets the 9-pin out. Good pair of two. Kyle Michalowski over there. Also Carson Bell on 3 and 4. They've all started pretty solid. I think DJ is over there too, Kneifel.
Is that how you say his last name?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've been butchering it. Sorry, DJ.
We asked. When in doubt, just ask. Actually, that's the first thing you do is ask.
I know it's Cesar and not Caesar.
Correct. I remember Cesar from last year,
Yep.
who made a nice run at this tournament in match play.
Yeah, top 4, I believe. I think he
Yeah, he lost in the semi.
to Brett. I think he lost to Brett.
Brett was a runner-up. Of course, losing to Darren Tang. I forgot our 4th player was in the semis. GT2 bowled pretty good last year also.
He lost to Brett as well.
I'm sure that's, you know, when here lies on the T-shirt, I lost to Brett.
I don't remember who was 4th last year. I know Fitzgerald was up there, but I don't know if he lost in the round of 4 or the round of 8. It's going to bother me.
The top players in this tournament, with regards to match play, when we get there, every single year, there's been a match or a couple of matches actually that really come down to it. I remember Brianna Cote, I think it was year 1. You know, she was trailing by like what seemed like 30+ pins with a couple frames left. Ends up winning the match. I remember it was on 1 and 2.
That's the beauty of that Masters format with those 3-game matches. You just never know. You're never out of it. Never out of it.
If you have any questions, folks, for us, happy to help you with regard to the format. Of course, top 4 players advance automatically to match play. And match play will, again, it'll be a bracket match play style, top 24. There are 4 full squads, if you will, squads A, B, C, and D. Today is the only squad of the tournament, or I'm sorry, to start the day, excuse me. Tomorrow we'll have squads B, C, and D. And then we'll have the 2-game Desperado to close out the night. And I think with the exception of last year, we've had a tie in a Desperado for a final spot.
I bet you're excited about that. Are you like hiding Red Bull under the table for tomorrow?
No, I'm not a Red Bull guy. Not a good shot there.
Are you an energy drink guy? Are you a coffee guy? I know you're a coffee guy. You came and had coffee downtown last year or something.
Coffee, I did.
Coffee builders.
Coffee, tea. I wasn't a coffee individual until I started working Junior Gold several years ago. My wife, who's a CrossFitter, enjoys a Celsius every now and then, and I've tasted those, and they aren't too bad for me.
Okay.
I feel like that's about my vibe. Back in the college days, you know, if I had to stay up late, power through a paper project, 5-hour energy and a couple of bow tie donuts was my was my energy drink.
Sounds like a heart attack. Yeah, back in our day, 5-hour energy was the jam.
That was it.
That was a game changer.
That was the one.
Drink 3 ounces of this and your life will change for the next.
That was our purple hammer.
Yeah, exactly.
5-hour energy.
It's a good analogy. That's why you do this for a living.
Kyle Ponzo, speaking of purples, 5 in a row. Andrew Kane in the chat. Shout out to Andrew. Another fine lefty from Phoenix.
Andrew, stay home. You don't need a bowl this weekend.
Well, I'm sure he's salivating.
Go to your kid's game.
GT2 do this on the left side.
Be a dad. You don't need to come here.
And there might be no one more excited than him right now. Or maybe KJ.
Maybe.
If he's bowling.
Yeah. I think he's bowling the 5 o'clock squad tomorrow from what he said on Wednesday.
Andrew says Kentucky Purple 2018 sounds like a bourbon release. That is, yeah, it is very vintage now. So much so, of course, you know that there's some folks with some stashes.
I think Andrew has that same one. I know he throws a Kentucky Purple. Did you see Cesar right there?
He went to it. You called it.
I think he went to it 6 frames too late, but
that's you
he got there.
Understanding, obviously, those who bowl in the area.
Sure.
And their games. And, you called that one, bud.
Look at that. Unbelievable. What I'm referring to is Greg just spared the 2-4-7-8, but he threw it his normal way. He also can throw it two-handed and lefty. I think he averaged like 185 one year just goofing around left-handed. Never done it in his life.
I can't say I've never seen him throw it two-handed. So that would be nice to see.
It's because we bowl King of the Hill at Union Hills, and they're kind of notorious for being really cliffed, and he could never slow down. So he started throwing it two-handed because he could throw it slower. And he just did it on a whim.
It's the kind of talent you can't teach.
No.
A man originally from Dayton, Ohio. Trotwood.
All right, we got scores after 4.
If you wouldn't mind to do the honors, I would appreciate that.
All right, everybody. First place, Ben Perry, plus 98. Second is DJ. How do you say his last name?
Kneifel.
Kneifel. All right. DJ Kneifel, plus 91. Then a big drop-off. Third place, Kyle Duster, plus 22. And as of right now, the number, fourth place, is Kyle Ponzo at plus 6. Fifth place, Jonathan Mayer, minus 5. Sixth place, Ryan Howard, who's right in front of us. He is minus 8. Seventh place is Wyatt Trzowski, also known as Sean, and minus 15. Eighth place is Matt Zweig, minus 17. Ninth place, Sean Whitelaw, minus 20. And rounding out the top 10 is Kevin Wilson, minus 21. So plus 6 is the number with 3 to go.
Again, at this tournament, every squad is important to the degree of there are players who will advance to match play in each squad. So, yeah, every squad has they're bowling for something. And obviously, not just the overall score, and you see if it's going to be high enough. It's an automatic spot. It's 4 of them. Ryan Howard with
that was a big shot right there.
Ball speed as an intangible for him.
That puts him in the plus category.
So GT2 comes down to 7 and 8. Unsure, we'll have to find out if he was throwing back up on 11 and 12 or when he did it.
He was not. He shot 140 the game before.
Okay, so that would sounds like that prompted a okay, let's give this a try.
Why not?
And
But that puts him back plus. He was minus 42 coming into this game, so he's plus 4 after 5.
yeah, that's just an unfair bag, right? If you like basketball, you know the term that is often used now in sports where if you got an array of moves, a couple crossovers, your step back game is good, you've got a bag. GT2's bag is full. Like, if you're pulling that out of the bag,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's hard to
Physically, he is unmatched, right? I mean, to be fair, there's a few guys out here that have pretty phenomenal physical
Sure.
games. Kyle King, Cortez Schenk, GT on the right side. Those guys are just, you're not going to beat their talent. You have to hope that you're having a good day, and between the ears, you're doing everything right.
Well, speaking of having a good day right now, Kyle Ponzo having a great game number 5. He's got the front 7 on 3 and 4. We'll watch Cesar here finish things out. He had his plastic ball in his hand, and he still does.
Yeah.
He put it down for a moment after going 3-4 in the 9th, and 8-1 in the 7th, 3-5 in the 3rd.
Oof. See, I don't think he should bail on the backup. I think he threw a bad shot in the 9th, and you just kind of have to chalk it up as, I didn't throw that one good. I'm not going to let that dictate the rest of my day. Easy for me to say, I'm sitting back here, but just my opinion.
Well, let's see what this fill shot is. This might be one of the more important fill shots we'll see. We talk about fill shots a lot, of course, with respect to both of the professional tours. But at Cesar, in a situation where he truly is fishing, he will keep plastic in his hand. All right, let's go next door. Ponzo.
Kyle's been having kind of a roller coaster of a day. 172, 222, 237, 175. So it looks like he's taking advantage of the pairs that he has a good look on, and the other pairs are just tough.
That sounds like bowling.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the ones.
But the key is he's taking advantage of the pairs that he sees it on.
Not the easiest thing to do, too.
Not especially not in this environment, because you're frustrated.
Yeah,
you're frustrated. You're having to stay in the moment. It's that all those cliche things that you don't want to believe, but are 100% true. Stay in the moment, one shot at a time. Make your spares. Which I did not do at Nationals this year. Good cover for Kyle there. Not the easiest spare.
Oh, get a break.
You see that shot on 4 where he got it to the gutter early and it stood up right away? But if you try to move in off that and shape it to the gutter at all, it's never going to see it. That's what makes that so hard. It's kind of a tease. Kyle Duster is a phenomenal spare shooter. He has spared so many splits today. I told him that after like game 2, he came over and I was like, your spare shooting is unbelievable. And he said he's been working on it for weeks because he has nationals coming up. He knew he was bowling this.
Where's he at in the standings?
Good question. 3rd. He's plus 22. 178, 247, 190, 207.
Well, that's, I mean, that's
He's grinding.
the reason right there, right? Where he is currently. Look at that shot that you just referenced here. We'll do it after Kyle's first shot here. Ponzo in particular now, but Mikulowski's shot.
1 and 2 is the GOAT pair in this house, by the way.
Wow, he's in that 4th arrow. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. 1 and 2 in this center.
That's so rare to
If
hear a
we're
wall
a bowling league and I know I'm on 1 and 2, my number is 750. And if I don't get to 750,
pair. It's an upset.
I didn't have a good night. Yep, absolutely. And I know that might sound crazy to people that don't bowl league here, but 1 and 2 is just, it hooks back from anywhere.
Oof. And the Greek Church here for Kneifel now.
Yeah.
Oof, his toughest game so far looks like of today. A couple of splits here, maybe 3 opens in the last 4, or I should say the last 3 consecutive in an open. Missing a single pin in frame 2. Next door though, front 3 open 4-bagger over there on 1 and 2.
Oh, that was
Gave
so
it a run.
close.
Looks like 9 through 12. Right now, they too are awaiting some bowling. So we'll take that off the screen here for a moment.
So if you were bowling, where do you think you would try to attack them?
Man, well, from the watching the fresh, I would have said, all right, I can probably attempt to play out for a little bit, but based on what I saw, I mean, I would have certainly tried to move left and then run into the situation of how steep do you get. Now the question is, I still want to punch up your thing. Like, I've watched it enough at a high level to understand when it can be in play and perhaps maybe not. But as someone who does not have a high rev rate, like, I would love to see what that would be like.
Sure.
Out of my hand. But I always like to say, you know, prime me would be playing here. But I think I would have to consider your thing in that sense.
Well, you've been on the ladies tour. If you watch Kareen bowl at all,
Oh,
she
yeah.
loves throwing that purple. She's
So-
been bowling really well.
It's funny you said that. I forgot the stop in Cleveland that she made the show in.
Yeah, she led it.
No, I'm sorry, Waterloo. I beg your pardon. It was Waterloo, Iowa. Made the show as the #1 seed. I don't remember because I wasn't there. She was throwing purple. I think she was.
She was,
right?
yeah. I think she threw it most of the tournament.
And so in Cleveland, there was a nice break there, DJ. In Cleveland, Olivia Komorowski, who's a former Wichita State Shocker, I think it was the first event. 38, 39-ish feet, actually very similar. She was the only player to throw urethane for all 24 games. She made the show as well. And almost won with it.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Stephanie Zavala ended up winning. But it was impressive. But that week in Cleveland and the women's tour historically had not seen a ton of players throw urethane. It was a very gradual increase year after year. Sydney Brummett, Verity Crawley, Daria Payot, Stephanie Zavala, Corrine, a few other players, but not a lot. But that week in Cleveland, I saw the most urethane, the highest amount of urethane I've ever seen go down the lane in recent years on tour. And I thought it was great to see, actually, because there's some patterns where I think urethane would be in play normally, but a lot of the players just weren't or didn't have that as part of their game because they just weren't practicing with it.
Yeah.
And Hope's another good example of that. At the Queens last year, she used urethane on her way to the top seed at the Queens. And she spent a ton of time practicing, just like Kyle Ponzo is going to be in the 270s now.
That's a monster game.
Well, Hope said, this is something I don't know what to do with. I'm going to practice. So I think she first had a pitch black. That's what she drilled up. Ends up having a 78U, of course, and then just went on a run last year at the Queens. So it's a part of her game now.
Yeah, it's a much different shape. There's a lot different moves when you're throwing urethane, and then going from urethane to reactive was the biggest learning curve for me. I took a lot of years off, and when I came back, urethane was, talk of the town. So it took me, year and a half really to figure out how to throw it, where I wanted to throw it, what my moves were off of it, what my moves were while I was throwing it. So yeah, it's a completely different mindset, but I don't think it's necessarily limited to rev rate. Obviously, if Kyle King is throwing the purple and I'm throwing the purple, it's shaping different and we're seeing it differently. But, obviously the women on tour and some of the other guys that I know have had a lot of success throwing urethane.
Derek says, or confirmed, it was indeed every game.
Every game. Derek, Dad of the Year.
Oh, absolutely. Husband of the Year, too. I'm willing to give him my title.
I'm not giving him my title. We'll give him Dad of the Year. He has 4 of those.
Well, anytime you can drill, I don't know, I forgot the exact number.
Oh, it was like
balls.
20 bowling balls or 19 bowling balls. Yeah.
After the step up back in weight, it actually had made me realize that she had originally hurt her finger. It was 2 full years.
It was bad.
From that point.
It was bad.
I was like, oh, wow, yeah, I forgot about that. I mean, I knew the injury happened, but I didn't realize it had been 2 full years or full seasons in that regard.
I mean, just if you look in this last year, she had her 4th child. She is a nurse and works a lot of hours and has been dealing with that injury for a couple years and been changing pitches and throwing 14. And for her to be doing what she's doing is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It just really shows you how talented and driven she is, because when she's on, she's as tough as anyone.
I will always claim Corrine. Great shot there from Duster. He can get to 193 because she started her career at Lindenwood.
Okay.
So to me, she's always
good.
Family. She's always good with me.
Yeah. Derek's not bad himself. He's pretty good.
He is. He's great. He's been great to get to know.
Oh no, he's a great person. I'm teasing. He's a great bowler.
I forgot about our fellow lefty too, with regard to what GT2 is doing on this
Derek
left
is
side.
salivating at the moment. We're in a group chat.
He too is anxious, perhaps, to get on the lanes.
We're in a group chat, and he is absolutely getting roasted.
Carl Long checking in. Carl's going to be out here tomorrow all day. He's got some winning spots going down here this week in collaboration with Theo and the Cactus Classic. Possible winning spot, can win a spot to his tournament. The trilogy of the Agent Open.
We're so spoiled to have that tournament in the Cactus here. We're really lucky to be able to bowl 2 really, really big high-profile events across 3 months. We get to have you this year twice, which is awesome. But yeah, kudos to Theo and Carl, because putting on these tournaments it's just all about love. They're doing it for the love of the game. They don't have to do it. Both those guys have other careers, so really grateful to have an opportunity to sleep in our own bed and bowl for some good money.
When's the and I'm not saying that you don't travel. 190 there for Kyle, and we'll move back over to 5, 6, 7, and 8. 7 and 8 is underway. Brandon gave his run at plastic too to see what that looks like. So we've seen plastic, we've seen urethane, we've seen right-handers go back up to the left side. We've seen two-handed righties go back up on the left side as well. That's any indication, folks, of what this pattern has done. In fact, let's put it up on the screen. For those who may not have seen it, we opened up with it. So 38 feet, 27.35 mils, right? And from the stair step, you see their shape. But I learned over the course of my time, sometimes you got to look at the load data. 9 2-2s there, which generally means that, the more 2-2s you see, typically the flatter pattern you get, especially in that middle part of the lane. And it did not look friendly for those who tried to jump in there too early. Righties in particular. Speaking of right-handers specifically.
Yeah, again, this is a high friction center. So they're flat in there. They're hard. They're impossible. You're not getting in and shaping it. I'm terrible at reading graphs, so I'm glad you're here.
Well, listen, it used to be not the friendliest thing, but again, when you look at graphs for a 13-week period,
sure,
on the PWBA tour for now 9 seasons, it's like, okay, just learn the basics. And so I've learned to look at load data, obviously, distance, volume. Some players now, they've added kind of in their bag, if you will, they like to look at the type of oil
sure,
that's available, because that's, if it's fire, if it's ice, those are two completely different things. Yep. So now they've learned to look at the type of oil if the graph lists that information. So there's so many things to kind of keep track of.
I just usually text Calderon and say, "What do you think?"
That's a great phone a friend right there.
Oh yeah, that guy has forgotten more than I know. Now, if you're Kyle Duster, he's in the number. Kyle's another one that is pretty good at throwing it back up, but he's probably thinking, I have a decent look. Why rattle the cage here? I'm just going to keep grinding, get in that top 4 and kind of move on. But I wonder if in the back of his head he's kind of watching GT and some of these other guys and thinking, I can do that. I didn't see GT's first shot, but he left 3-6, 9-10. I can't imagine him leaving that, throwing it back up, but.
He's made the 2-4-7-8 and the 3-6-9-10. He shot those both right-handed.
I didn't see his first shot.
It would be interesting if it was just one pair. Another interesting note, too, looks like we might already have a couple of players who decided that this might be enough for him. I'm seeing a couple of, or this group on 3 and 4 only has 2 players. I think everybody started with at least 3. There were some pairs with 4.
Oh yeah, it looks like there was one withdrawal.
Oh, I like that from Steve Roberts.
Hall of Famer Steve Roberts.
Well, he's got a little surface, a lot of surface. Out there playing out on lane 4.
Yeah, GT's, wow.
So GT has gone back to a quote-unquote normal style of bowling. Traditional right-handed release, thank you. After, if you're joining us late, folks, he had just came off lane 7 and 8, throwing it back up and shot 246. He was coming off of 140 after or before that game.
Yeah, we need him to be mic'd up. And what are you seeing out there? He had a pretty big break too. He hasn't bowled in probably 10 minutes.
Mike Flanagan checking in of Inside Bowling. Shout out to Mike. Mike was with me in Cleveland. We talked about urethane a lot. It was actually very rare that it's a story on the women's tour, but it was the story. Trzaskowski missed a 9-pin. There's been a few single pin whiffs here.
That's just frustration. That's, you know, we're in game 6 of 7. He's had enough. Mentally just slipping a little bit. It happens to the best of us. So do you think now on the women's tour that they're seeing more results with urethane, that will become more of a trend that more of the girls try?
I think so. I think the majority watched Olivia Komorowski and now, of course, Corrine kind of go start to finish with urethane, and it got them success. They both made the show in those respective events. And almost got the win, each one of them in those respective events. And so, and obviously, you're not going to throw it on every pattern, but there are certain lengths I think they just work better. For the players, I'm speaking of in particular. I do think we would see more, or again, it just be a handful of players, and you would know instantly if this player was in it. Pitch Black or Purple Hammer. We'll see some 78Us out there. You know, Daria, for example, Sherry Tan, Shannon Plahowski, 2 lefties use urethane. Sherry Tan has I forgot the name of hers. It's an overseas urethane bowling ball. I think it's a Hustler, it's called. It's like it's close to being a hustle, but it's a hustler. Ben Perry, by the way, he's nearing back where he started. Players do skip a pair today, so they won't hit the same pair twice. Speaking of KJ.
Ben's one of those guys that you very rarely see him throw the purple. He's always throwing the black hammer. I think it's a little less aggressive. He likes to really stay on top of it. But he makes that ball look good. When he has it, he strikes a lot.
Key is always to be able to, if you can, right, do something that no one else is doing, and hopefully that thing is working and not the opposite.
And he's just scrappy. He's like one of those guys that if you didn't know him and maybe you didn't bowl in Phoenix, you would see him and not think anything of it. But he can play.
I think it was here when I first saw him maybe for the first time. I think it was here at this tournament. I think it was the first year of this event.
It probably was. I think he's made match play the last couple of years. We'll have scores for everyone here in a couple minutes. Theo's almost done updating them after game 5.
Yeah, Tournament Bowl does update in real time too, folks. So if you do click that link, you'll see the scores essentially being entered and what will look like a refresh, if you will.
Speaking of Kevin Jenkins, look at him in the flesh.
He had to check it out for himself.
He's salivating.
He had to see it in person.
I'm going to give him a napkin to wipe his drool. We bowl, there's we're pretty spoiled in the summer here in Phoenix. We have basically a King of the Hill on Monday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night. So all different parts of the city. You know, $50, 3 games of qualifying, and it's kind of eliminator, cut the field in half. Kevin Jenkins is the Hall of Fame of King of the Hill bowlers. He makes basically the top 4 every week.
That's not a surprise.
No, he's a bad man.
GT2 spare double on 3 and 4. One more game left. Again, the top 4 players will advance to match play. This is the only squad of the day. And then tomorrow, of course, is the extended version, if you will. 3 squads tomorrow, and then we'll close it out tomorrow night with a Desperado. That one's just 2 games. Kyle Duster, big fist pump there.
All right, we got scores.
Here we go.
All right, after game 5, Ben Perry is leading, plus 111. Second place, Kyle Ponzo, plus 83. Third, DJ Kneifel, plus 61. And the number is Kyle Duster. He is in fourth place at plus 12. Got GT, Greg Thompson, fifth place, plus 4. Ryan Howard in sixth place at plus 3. Jonathan Mayer in seventh at minus 16. Eighth place is Kevin Wilson at minus 35. Ninth is Matt Zweig at minus 36. And rounding out the top 10 is Christopher Mays at minus 42. Starting to test my math skills as we go down. There's not a number there, so I'm going 958 and immediately like minus 42. Okay. I'm old school though. My dad ran a bowling center for 45 years, and the first center that he ran was manual scoring. So like literally at the age of 7, 8, he's handing me a score sheet and a pencil and saying, "Figure it out." Right?
Yeah, I didn't know your parents owned a bowling center.
Didn't own it. He was a manager.
Yeah.
He worked for Brunswick AMF, a lot of different companies. But his first center that he ran was in Steubenville, Ohio. If anyone know where that is, it's on the right outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he ran a 24-lane center called All American Lanes. And nothing but mill workers and city workers and tons of league bowlers, tons of great action, but it was manual scoring, so we had to figure it out, and it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. It's helped my math game a lot.
Good things keep coming to Kyle Ponzo. Just bounce this off the curtain here. Watch this replay. A washout. Got the extra bounce from his bowling ball.
Which is really rare for anyone that doesn't bowl here. They do not bounce. Ooh, someone just picked up the 6, 7, 10 on lane 2. Duster might have figured out something as they opened up a little bit. He's kind of shaping that urethane ball a little bit. He's kind of playing the track.
My guy Mike Flanagan. Yes, it is my birthday. It's a busy week for me. That goes without saying. I'm busy a lot, but yes, in regards to bowling, Dave Ryan, who does all of our CBS Sports Network shows on the women's tour. We share a birthday. We always talk about that. I forgot that Tim Mack is also born on this day. Dylan Taylor from, of course, Phoenix, won the New Mexico Open a few years back. He, too, born on this day. Officially mentioned our front 7 now. We went over to Kyle Ponzo too early, and he missed in the 8th frame.
Dylan will be here tomorrow. I actually think Dylan might bowl pretty well on this. Dylan's a great spare shooter. He likes to keep it in front of him, play out. This could be pretty decent for Dylan.
Take that back up. Oh, not the back up, excuse me, the Brooklyn. I beg your pardon. Jesse Turner now with the front 8.
I think if he shoots 300, Theo should at least give him just his money back. There should be like a bonus pot.
That's not a terrible
It's not
idea.
my money, so I can suggest it.
I'm willing to believe that Kyle probably hasn't thrown anything other than urethane. And if he did, it was brief. Right, somewhere early, kind of midway-ish through the block, and was like, that's not going to work. Because he's starting to be able to shape it just a little bit more, and now he's seeing something a bit more consistent down lane, shaping urethane.
He likes to throw urethane, and he can definitely shape it. He dominated the finals of the Agent Ong this year throwing that purple. And he just kind of has that nice touch. I mean, Duster's shaping it a little bit too. Looks like he's throwing a pitch black or something along those lines.
He's figured out a way to not have to be too steep.
Yeah. Just saw it coming out of the ball return. It's a black hammer.
Shout out to Rep, one of the best bowling viewers you can ever have. Well, watch bowling. It doesn't matter what platform. I appreciate his support all of the years. We watch Jesse turn on the right side of your screen. Push, carry.
Oh. Heck of a run, though.
The high game of the tournament is Kyle Ponzos,
yeah.
right?
Yep, 270 something last game. Before that, it was 240.
Yeah, a couple players had 240.
All right, I didn't want to say anything, but now that he's doubled, GT threw it back up, shot 240, moved pairs, had 0 practice, switched back to traditional, and he shot 240 again. That is the most impressive thing you will ever see. Why he did it, we have no idea, but he was obviously right.
Go full screen real quick here for GT's final shot. He was in the bottom right on the picture-in-picture there, but so back-to-back 240s, as Mike just mentioned, but in 2 completely different ways. And with that, took a quick look again at the standings. He was in 5th, right, 8 pins back of Kyle Duster. And Duster might, of course, right, if he can finish this game, might be able to stay in front of GT. GT's going to move down to I think 19 and 20 to finish out. Try to keep an eye on what's going on down there.
It's a big spare for Ponzo there.
Of course, Ponzo second, as mentioned. Ben Perry started out great, and it's just been a very nice, consistent effort for him.
In bowling, we talk a lot, at least, especially in college bowling, mojo. That was a big mojo shot for Kyle. Trip that 4-pin, get a little confidence. He knows people are starting to score a little bit around him. The momentum swings in his favor.
I see what you did there, Kyle. Just trying to get a high pin count there. 188 clean. That is a professional game, as I like to say. I don't know if you heard that sound, folks, but that was Ryan Howard's bowling ball on lane 2, just demonstrative as it entered the pins.
He did have a clean 188. Wow.
Steve Roberts there, bottom of your screen. He started out throwing something that was very chalky, a little surface. Now seeing something that's much cleaner through the front part of the lane. Sean Wyatt Truskowski, who can shape it too. He can go left to right with the best. Looks like he's in a spot. The lanes have gotten to a spot, it looks like, where you can get your ball to go right, you know, from 4th, 5th arrow and not have it see immediate friction.
Right.
But it's taken probably 5 full games for it to get there.
Yeah.
Obviously, players tomorrow will be trying to speed up that process, or maybe not, right? Because if it's going well and you're playing right, then it should be a natural transition from that regard, because you assume there'll be some urethane on all of those squads. A lot of it will be on the left side of the lane. Some of it certainly will be on the right side of the lane, but there should be some oil being moved and stretched there. Jesse Turner shoots 254.
I would like to think a lot more players are going to throw surface out and try to push down or lengthen the pattern, stretch the pattern in the middle of the lane to like you said, speed up that process so there's a little more hold quicker. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. Because I would like to think a lot of people are probably watching, trying
to complete this squad. We'll know the first 4 players who will punch their ticket to Sunday's match play brackets.
Squad. Are you going to try to let that ride? Are you going to bowl again? What's your game plan with that?
I should say those 4 squads, or the full ones, if you will, that have the full 7 games. There were 7 players that will be taken from each. So those 4 squads. The top 6 overall after that, as far as scorers go. Then we also get in, and the final 2 will come from the Desperado. They'll be 23rd and 24th, respectively. So that's a really good point. Will you take that chance that your score is going to be good enough for essentially 6th overall, the rest who don't get in or who don't get in automatic?
I feel like that shot right there deserved one of your trademark bam.
Yeah, it was bang worthy. I was finishing up the point as I was watching the ball.
That was a
go
big
through
shot.
The pins.
Do you ever have people just come up to you at a tournament and say that? Like that kind of is your signature.
Yes, they do. People do say it. People do indeed say it.
Looks like we're going to get a little Brett Wolf action on 7 and 8. I think Matt Zweig is waiting on 5 and 6 to bowl. Look at Dan Quilt.
Shot from Dan Quilt. I thought his slower ball speed was actually a good thing earlier. He was trying to play out, and it was working out for him, or shape it a little bit. And it was working out for him for a few shots.
Dan's a great player. I always tease him because any tournament he goes to, he has a bag of just idols.
Really?
He has like the OG idol. He's throwing the idol Helios, idol Cosmos.
Nice. Puts him in the 220s. GT shot 240.
246.
6. Again, standings can be located top of the chat. It's pinned. So click that link there.
I think if you're Matt Zweig and you're waiting to bowl on 5 and 6, you're probably liking what you're seeing.
He started out with urethane this morning, but haven't seen him, of course, since he made the move to the high end. High score on 1 and 2 was 206. At 201 over there as well.
Yeah, last year for this tournament, 1 and 2 was the hardest pair, and that's why I kind of emphasized on the house pattern, 1 and 2 is the GOAT. See what Dan said? Said he threw the idol just for me. It's easy to throw the idol, and that's the only ball in your bag. They're all so good, though.
Brett Wolf and Keith Dahmer.
Big shot here for Duster.
Over there by themselves on 7 and 8. Duster can stay in front of GT, who just shot 240, needs it to lay off, and he gets a break.
Clean living. You only trip 4 pins when you're throwing it good, though.
Look at that one.
He did not like it off his hand. He's directing traffic immediately. Brett does not look like he's having fun.
No, I thought his look was pretty solid earlier in the block. But he did leave a few wrap 7s. Now 7-2, 7-2 to start game 8. Probably means he will be returning perhaps at some point tomorrow. He got that one where he wanted it.
Yeah, no doubt about that one. I mean, Brett is such a great player that he doesn't need to see it too many times to figure out what he needs to do. So I think he'll regroup, maybe make a couple surface changes, and I would be shocked if he didn't make it. Bowled nationals with him a month ago, and in singles, it was the best I've seen him throw it in a really long time. He shot 740, and he pockets 710 in the 9th of the 3rd game to lose the clean pot and quite a bit of money, because that puts him into like 770 category. But he was feeling it. It was 2003 Masters, Brett.
Wow, that ball looked really good as well. Clearly different. We're moving to game 7. Jeff Krause over there on that's the bottom right there, just left to 3 and 4. Gerald Thompson, Jesse Turner just had the front 8.
You need Jeff to bring you some food.
That's a good idea.
The crepes? Oh my goodness. That place is amazing. It is a staple in the Tempe community. I think they even got like a key to the city or something. He's been there a long time.
How about that?
Oh yeah. He's a big deal in the chef world.
That's great. Getting the key to the city. I have Justin O'Donnell, Ben Perry, Matt Zweig.
That's a good pair.
Ben Perry was your leader. He's been, for the most part, in the lead all day long.
He has been all day, yeah.
Big game again from Kyle Duster. Keeps him in front of GT2. And now by a few more pins, a little bit more than 8 now. The question is, what did DJ Kneifel do? And even for that matter, Ben Perry. But Ben Perry looks like he has no plans to relinquish the lead.
I like how you called him Sean Wyatt earlier. I'm going to start calling him that. I'm going to hyphen your name.
7 and 8 is going to be done first. They have 2 to finish up things. 11 and 12 looks like they're going to be done first. I do see a front 5 down on 13 and 14. And any kind of front 5, front 6 situation at this point will be important, certainly assuming that they're at least in the top 10.
I think that's Jonathan, maybe.
If you're in the top 10 and you start front 5, front 6, you will have a chance to make the top 4 here tonight. Or this afternoon, I should say, for Sunday.
Oh, no, that was Nick Paredes that had the front 5.
Nick a little bit too far down based on score. There were still a few players, Jonathan being one of them.
Yeah, he's still in it.
He is absolutely.
Although this, if he is C on lane 14, it is not going well.
I actually think he's on 15.
Oh, okay. I definitely can't see that far.
He's got 125 in the 7th.
Okay. All right, big strike for Zweig.
Some scores are now being entered. Matt was someone who was 36 under, but still had an opportunity, again, with a big game here. Again, players are bowling for 4 automatic spots into the match play bracket, which will take place on Sunday morning. Each squad has 4 autos. Great shot there. And then to further out, or I should say complete the bracket, the top 6 overall tallies of the players who did not earn automatic spots across the respective 4 squads available will advance. And then the final 2 players will advance the bracket via the Desperado. And then for those who do have autos, right, depending on the scores for those players, that's who, then we decide who gets a bye or a 2-round bye, a 1-round bye, etc.
And that is so important because those 3-game matches, that it takes a lot of toll out of you. So if you come in, you get 2 byes and you're automatically in the, you know, round of 8 or whatever, that's a huge advantage.
Just heard someone say. I said, God, he's so good.
Calm down, Sean Wyatt. Calm down. Right now is an interesting narrative going on. It's a mixture of guys fighting for the cut, guys maybe trying to learn something for tomorrow, and guys just trying to go home.
You hit the nail right on the head with that description of all 3.
It's just
You are 1,000% correct.
some of these guys are making a smoothie with no lid on the blender and stuff's just going everywhere.
What a mental image I just got.
It's just a mess.
Sean just heard you say it. That's why he did not quite stick the landing. Theo is almost complete with scores. Boy, Nick Paredes, if that was him with the front stair this game, he did shoot 238. He started completely on the struggle bus.
And
the flat pattern on the fresh was tough.
And Nick averages 230 in this building. Like he's, you know, he can bowl.
I mean, you could tell that he knew what he was doing.
In fact, he just won the last CBE. I think the senior CBE he just won.
I mean, it was clear. Like,
but yeah, if you're looking at his scores, it is not pretty.
I watched him on the fresh, and it was tough.
He's plus the last 3 games, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, if
I won't say what he shot the first 3. We'll let him, you know.
Players can figure out how to jumpstart the process in regards to just blending the lane out sooner. for tomorrow. The scores might be a little bit higher.
Sometimes that teases you, though, and you leave with hope. And then you bowl again. Then the second game, you're like, what am I doing?
We know that Ben Perry is still 153 over. And still in the lead.
That's a lot.
Kyle Ponzo, 71 over. Kyle Duster is 70 over.
Looks like we're just waiting on Greg Thompson and Ryan Howard's scores.
Yep, those are two very important
that
scores.
are up there. So, yeah, it's tough to really gauge what's going on. But I would imagine that around 70 over is the number.
One of my favorite individuals to watch bowl since I've been coming out to Phoenix has been Ron Schloss. He is in he's in the chat and said, don't forget the guys who threw the last four and will now re-enter because they have
100%.
They have a great look, quote unquote.
100%. Ron knows. Saw Ron last night. He bowled King of the Hill. Ron shot 850 against me in this building in league a couple months ago. That's how nice of a guy he is.
Is this a match play league or?
No, we were bowling across.
Okay.
It was match play last year, but they got rid of it, which is a whole nother story. But yeah, against my team. Super sub Ron Schloss. Hall of Famer Ron Schloss.
That's right. Yeah, he the last couple years we've had a couple people get in the Hall of Fame when I was here.
Yeah.
Matt Jones, Ron,
Brett.
There was one other player I think.
You're putting me on the spot.
Sean?
Steve Roberts.
I don't think it was Steve, but congrats to Steve. I think it was maybe Sean. His last name starts with a K.
Oh, Sean Kozak.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he got in too.
Sean Kozak might actually bowl really well on this. He's really good at throwing it straight in 100.
All right, they're all in, my friend. We got ourselves a race, as we thought it would be. I'll let you do the honors.
All right, after game 6, we have Ben Perry continuing to lead the charge at plus 153. Second place, Kyle Ponzo, plus 71. Third place, Kyle Duster, plus 70. And the number right now in fourth place is Greg Thompson, plus 51. Fifth place is DJ Kneifel, plus 47. Sixth place is Jonathan Mayer, minus 3. Seventh place, Ryan Howard, minus 31. Eighth place, Chad Lush, minus 47. And tied for ninth place, so 9th and 10th, Troy Blickenstaff and Christopher Mays at minus 55. Wow, drops off quite a bit. And the difference between 5th and 6th place is 50 pins. I'll go a little further down for anybody that's listening for someone. Matt Zweig, 11th, minus 58. Tied for 12th is Keith Dahmer and Tyler Milbrandt at minus 70. 14th place is Sean Whitelaw, minus 73. And 15th place is Kevin Wilson, minus 78. So Ben Perry's in. We're going to go ahead and pencil him in. So it basically comes down to Kyle Ponzo, Kyle Duster, Greg Thompson, and DJ Kneifel. Those 4 guys bowling for 3 spots. Unless Jonathan did something crazy down there.
DT2 is finishing on 21 and 22. Looks like DJ Kneifel is on 17 and 18. And then Duster, of course, is on 9 and 10. We'll be able to get a good view of him.
Yeah, it looks like Duster has spare double.
Mike, I'm going to take one step. I'm just going to run down and Please do as I turn down your microphone.
That was like perfect epic
It must have
timing.
been, right.
You were censoring me already. You knew it was coming. Sean Wyatt Trzowski. I'm using that name forever now. We hyphenated your name, by the way. Yeah, you're now Sean Wyatt. Big spare for Kyle Duster down there on 9 and 10. Zweig not happy with that result, which I can't blame him. It's tough when you get on a good pair and the pins are not falling your way because there's not many good pairs. But certainly it looks like 5 and 6 is hittable for sure. Ben Perry's grinding this game, but he can still shoot 220, which is crazy. He's easily going to be able to sleep in on Sunday, get a couple buys. If anybody's in the chat, you should comment. When are you bowling? When are you coming down? What squad are you bowling tomorrow? I'm genuinely curious. That way I can maybe avoid your squad. I'm definitely not reading that comment about Sean Whitelaw. No, Ron, I did not mention the 11th shot in my 300 when I bowled against you. No one needs to know. Did I get all 10? I did. Was it pretty? No. I hadn't shot 300 in league in like 4 years, so I was nervous. I'm not a professional. Sean Wyatt Trzowski, the artist formerly known as Wyatt, with a 3-bagger. Looks like Aaron Yamamoto's bowling at 5 p.m. We will see you at 5 p.m., Aaron. Bring your spare ball. And your purple hammer slammer. Ben Perry is showing us that he's human. The 12th shot was really good. Thanks, Ron. I appreciate that. Look at you with the compliment. Wasn't as good as your 850. I feel like anytime you shoot over 820, that's a lot. It's a lot. Ben Perry can spare 2. He covers the 2-7. Too easy. Coming to an end here. Everybody is wrapping up. Looks like everyone, we got 9 and 10 still going, and then 1 through 6, but everyone on the high end is done. I think Cesar has 1 shot left. So what'd you learn down there?
All right, so GT shot 222.
Ooh. So that puts him at plus 73.
Ryan Howard shot 224. But that may be a little short.
He shot 224.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's going to put him at, I think, -7.
Yep. And DJ shot 195. He's going to be at plus 42. So right now it is solely up to Kyle Duster at this point.
He definitely controls his own destiny at this point. Ooh, just covered the 2.8. Clap in the back for him. So is that what it's come down to? Kyle, Duster, or DJ, right?
Yes, unless
GT's in.
GT's in. I meant to look at, I think John had just finished up, but I don't think his score was high enough. Saw Troy Blickenstaff rolling his items toward the door. Matt Zweig had an outside chance when we started this game.
Did you see what Ponzo was doing?
Oh, no, I didn't.
That's the other guy that we don't know about.
I didn't. Isn't he still bowling?
No, he's done. All right, he's going to go check and see what Ponzo shot that game. I can never tell with Ponzo. He has the same demeanor whether he's shooting. Well, he doesn't shoot 150 very often, but 150 or 250, he's just a super chill guy. But to be fair, everyone that lives in Flagstaff, Arizona is super chill. It's mandatory. You have to be cool if you want to live in Flagstaff, Arizona. Keep that in mind, everyone.
Ponzo got to plus 75.
Oh, that's huge. So he's 2 ahead of GT then. So it's between GT and Kyle Duster.
I mean, not really.
Right?
The GT
Oh, no.
should be
Or did they shut out DJ?
Yeah, it was
They
it was
shut out
DJ.
DJ. Okay, okay. Yeah. So that's pretty much a. Oh, I won't say it.
Unconfirmed, right? But unofficial.
It's looking good.
As we like to say on tour, very, very, very unofficial. Looks like Perry, Ponzo, Duster, Thompson. And we'll go over to Kyle here in a moment. Now, it is important to note again, folks, just in case, I guess I'll have to make sure I understand. Let's say a player will re-enter. Or let's say they don't re-enter, but they decided to bowl the Desperado. Would their, like if their score was high enough technically to be in the top 6 of scores who didn't receive auto spots, but they bowled the Desperado and they got a spot technically there, which spot would they get? Does that make sense? I need to make sure I understand that. I might be going.
Well, I don't think they would bowl the Desperado if they were the top 6 in the non-qualify on automatic qualifiers. We wouldn't know.
Oh, we would know that.
6.
You're right.
Yeah. But it might make it really interesting for that 5 p.m. squad. Like if you're not in the top 4, and then the next 6, say you're 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. You know, it's not like it's cheap to bowl. That's a
not at all.
That's a
not at all.
It's a tough decision. I was kind of in that situation at Agent Ong this year, and I just didn't have it in me to bowl another squad. I didn't have a choice. I really wanted to bowl another squad, but I just didn't have it in me. Luckily, I made it. I got lucky, but yeah, that's it's always tough when there's multiple squads and you're trying to balance out that squad equity and scoring pace. Kyle Duster's up on lane 9.
Duster just simply needs not to falter here.
Sure. Yep.
His number is plus 43. That's where DJ Knifel's plus 42. Zweig shot 225.
Yeah, this 5 and 6 ended up looking like a pretty good pair.
He ends up getting a minus 33. I think he's frustrated because he knows he had a chance at putting together a game there. And then, you know, you probably don't trust minus 33 to be in the top 6
No.
overall, right? So he's definitely going to bowl again tomorrow. He might be bowling tonight. I'm not sure if he's which pros will be participating in tonight's Bowl with the Pros event. That will not be streamed, unfortunately. I'm going to well, we would never stream the Pro-Am nonetheless, but I'll be here all day tomorrow.
Literally.
All day from
I think
start to
Zweig
finish.
and Duster are bowling the Pro-Am. I know GT is as well.
Those are 3 really good ones. I know Bree Cote will be here as well. I assume maybe Mr. Fitzgerald might be bowling.
I feel like we should take you out to dinner for your birthday.
Oh, you don't need to do that.
No, I think we should. I think we have to.
I mean, that's a nice gesture.
That's how we roll.
I thought you were showing houses.
That's how we roll around here. I do. I have to leave like pretty soon.
What time
I
you
have
got?
to be down. Well, I have to be downtown at 5.
Gotcha. What's the traffic situation like here in Phoenix?
Depends where you're going.
Okay.
Luckily, I have an EV, so I get to use in Arizona, if you have an electric vehicle, you can use the high occupancy vehicle lane all the time.
Is that the far left lane?
The far left
Okay.
lane. So it doesn't matter how many people you have in the vehicle. If you're an EV, you are grandfathered in. So that helps. But yeah, I mean, Phoenix is such a big city. It just really depends where you're going and what time of the day. I'm going downtown, so it's not too bad. This time of the day, people are trying to leave downtown and go back home to the suburbs. I live downtown and work downtown, so I'm usually always going against traffic.
Duster currently at 70 over.
He did not like that.
He's got about a 28 pin cushion. But again, as long
I think that puts him in.
as long as he made no mistakes from that frame and the 10th frame in regards to opens
Yeah.
specifically,
I think even if he,
he was going to be all right.
yeah, I think even if he doesn't mark, he's in.
Yeah, if he doesn't, the worst he would do is lose 20 and he'd still be okay.
Yeah, he's good. It's crazy because literally Kyle Duster told me game 1 how hard he's been working on a spare game, and that is the only reason. I mean, he made a lot of good shots, but that's the reason he made the cut. I did not see him miss a spare all day.
Yeah, when you, as soon as you joined me, which was about game 4 maybe,
Yeah, game 4.
you talked about that and talked about his score.
Yeah.
And he wasn't tearing him up,
No,
but he was plus.
he was in it.
And spare shooting clearly one big reason why.
Maybe I can sub him in when I bowl on tomorrow. Oh. Do you need?
That's why. Talking about
I was using Zweig's bowling ball as a footrest, and he said, you can keep it. It's the most use it's been all day. Oh, GT just passed me a note. Duster needs all 3 in the 10th to tie for second, and the top 2 get 2 buys.
there we go. So that's where
So
the
this
seeding
is-
part comes in.
All right, that changes the game. We're
Well, he's in.
yeah, he's in no matter what,
Right.
but I'm telling you, those buys make all the
Oh,
difference
absolutely.
in the world.
Yes. So we were talking about, of course, him just being in. So he's in regards to getting an auto, and then now it's the top 2, and each squad get a receive the 2-round buy. Right? That was just it.
I think there's a 2-round buy and a 1-round buy. The top 2 get buys.
Top 2 get buys no matter what. I think then in regards to around which scores.
He's changed the format a little bit this year, so it used to be a little bit different. So I'm not as familiar with the buys, but the top 2 used to get 2 buys, and then 3rd and 4th got 1 buy. He knows it, though. He's taking his time.
Top 2 players from each squad will be seeded 1 through 8.
Okay, and
receive
get one
a
bye.
1-round bye. 3rd and 4th from each squad will be seeded 9 through 16. So this shot, according to GT, will put Duster in a top 8 seed, of course, and that 1-round bye. Right, Spare puts him at 205, which would mean that, let's see, so GT was at plus 73, Ponzo was at plus 75. No one was catching Ben Perry.
So that's going to put Duster at plus 75.
Yeah, Ponzo was at, what did you say, 75? Yeah, that would have did it.
They haven't updated it. What did Ponzo end up at?
He said he was at plus 75.
Oh, Ponzo said he was. Okay.
That's what he said. But actually, with that said, though, this actually would put,
So they would tie.
this would put, yeah, Duster at
Plus 75.
plus 75.
We'll have to see once that gets updated. That could be interesting. I don't know how that would work.
I always said that this is what Kyle told me. He said he got to plus 75.
Well, either way, we got Ben Perry leading the day,
Yep.
start to finish. Amazing bowling.
1556.
Plus 156. 83 pens ahead of second place.
Speaking of Ben Perry's, we watch Tyler Milbrandt close it out here. I got some info from GT. And with regard to, for those of you who joined us late, we saw Greg Thompson Jr. on 7 and 8 go back up. He's a right-handed player if you've never seen him. He went back up with his purple hammer and shot 246. He was coming off a 140 game.
We have a tie for the bye, so they're going to do a 9th and 10th frame roll-off. Is it easier here or here?
Whichever one. All right, so there is a tie.
That's crazy.
There's a tie for a bye. So we're going to have I believe Theo just said a 2-ball. Did you hear what he said? Did you catch it?
9th and 10th frame roll
9th
off.
and 10th frame roll off. It's going to be on either 5 and 6 or 7 and 8.
So Kyle Ponzo and Kyle Duster. Well, if you're Kyle Duster, you're probably not upset that it's going to be on 5 and 6.
I wanted to get a couple extra shots.
Yeah, of course you did. Good thing you've been practicing your spares.
All right, so don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to have a 9th and 10th frame roll-off. I can officially say this is a first. I'm used to seeing,
This is
used to seeing ties for the last spot in the Desperado.
you jinxed yourself earlier
I
talking about
did.
ties.
That's how it works.
So
But
Ben Perry plus 156, and then tied for second, we have Kyle Ponzo and Kyle Duster at plus 75. And rounding out the top 4 is Greg Thompson plus 73.
all right, let's do the old type. So let me finish up the story briefly about GT. And so he saw Ben Perry bowling very well. He started on 7 and 8. He asked him where he started. He said 7 and 8. He was one other lefty. He said he saw shoot 230. And then he goes, all right, I'm going to try that because what I'm doing is not working. Then he shot 240. Then when he went over to 3 and 4, he watched Kyle Ponzo shoot 270 on that pair, doing something similar. So then he said, all right, I'm going to do what he's doing.
It's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. I mean, it makes sense, but if you shot 140.
He said it so casually, too. Like,
Yeah, but if you shot 140, you changed completely what you were doing and shot 240, you would immediately go, I'm going to go back to what I was doing when I shot 140.
And then once again, we do take the top 6 overall after all the squads are done.
But that's GT's mindset. Like, Well,
Absolutely.
If they're doing it, I can do it.
Because
Or
he can.
why couldn't I do it?
Right.
Actually, if you know GT, he would think like I should be able to do that.
Take his thumb. I have to take my thumb too. Give me a second.
Because he's not cocky. He's just curious. He's very intrigued when other people are doing well and how they're doing it and how he can replicate that.
Give me just a few minutes to get the roll-off done, and then I'll get all my brackets and stuff.
All right, so some bonus bowling here, folks. 9th and 10th frame roll-off.
Let's take your bets. Who's got odds? Let's hear it in the chat. Who are you going for? Somebody's going to be a smart aleck and say, I bet Kyle wins. Kyle King, I just saw your message. If I don't have clients tomorrow, I'm bowling at 5 p.m. and then immediately going drinking. Robbie Patterson said 5 p.m. At this age, it's one and done. Amen to that, Robbie. Say that for all the 42-year-olds with a bad hip and a bad back.
Again, the roll-off here is for a one-round bye. It will put them in the top 8 seeds in regards to placing. That allows for that bye.
Now, if you were bowling right now, do you want to start the match or finish the match?
I would finish so I know exactly what I need.
You'd want to finish first? Yeah, I'd want to finish first too. Oh, you'd want to start, so
I want to finish last.
interesting. I'd want to put up the score first.
Like I'm good. Bring it on.
Yeah, I'm not clutched. I do not have the clutch gene.
The monitors are being edited by tournament director Theo Duthay and Kyle Duster, who was a part of this. I believe, though, Kyle did receive choice. I think that was because of had to be based on high game of the block, which would make sense if they tied for a block. The next best thing typically to break those types of ties would be high game.
Looks like both guys are still in urethane.
This is the pair that Duster
Yeah.
bowl. What did he shoot?
240 or 250? It was game 6 for him. 258.
258.
All right. Out of trouble.
A lot of 9 right there.
Out of trouble.
That's a very good 9. Such an interesting scenario here just with the roll-off itself, but we just went from essentially having 22 lanes of competition to it being dead silent.
It is dead silent in here. I mean, worst case scenario, both these guys are in. So
Correct.
that makes you feel a little bit better. But I'm telling you that bye makes a big difference. not just financially, but physically. 3 less games you got to bowl.
Emil Williams Jr. with my guy Mike Hardesty. Thanks for Mike coming in about midway through the block, hanging out. He's going to go sell some houses after this.
Hope so.
Ponzo. That one well off the mark there. 1, 2, 4 to take care of. Well, we could have another tie.
We got to go. Someone needs to step up.
This is for a 1-round bye and a higher seed.
And both of these guys have had success under pressure. Kyle Ponzo is the Agent Ong champion for 2024, and Kyle Duster has multiple PBA regional titles. So both these guys can play. Both these guys have felt pressure before. Just a matter of executing.
Again, one more reason to reiterate, this is not a tie for the 4th spot, which would be a tie essentially to, or they'd be breaking this tie to be a part of or to gain an automatic spot. They're in. They finished in the top 4. They're trying to break the tie to see who's going to be, who's going to receive, I should say, a first-round bye and a higher seed. Squads B, C, D, and Desperado all tomorrow.
That looked a lot better.
It was better.
Just never saw it. It's a pretty good shot, though. For all you bowling ball nerds, Kyle Ponzo is throwing the purple hammer, and Kyle Duster is throwing the black hammer.
All right. Best he can do is hit to 39.
Yeah, that's a big shot. Wants to get all 10 to make Duster think about it a little bit.
$39 would be great here. Then for Duster, of course, he'd love to get the first one on the 10th. Puts him at 20. Of course, tonight, and he's firmly in the driver's seat with 2 shots essentially to take care of business. He'd love a double to close it out, or if he's got to make it spare to win by 1 possibly. Even better. Yep.
Oh, big shot for Kyle.
So Ponzo's in the clubhouse with 39. So Duster is going to need 9 or better here on the first shot to even have to keep this thing going, I should say, in his favor. If he gets 8, he can't win.
Correct. I like that he's taking his time here.
Is time on his side? Maybe no.
All right, spare it up. What are the rules for the tiebreaker or the tiebreaker? Sudden death roll off. All right. Is this going to be another EJ and Ethan Fiore situation?
It might be.
I'm going to have to leave you.
Yeah, you got to go sell house.
I don't think that's going to happen. No one's throwing a 7-bagger on this.
All right, that is handled.
No shock there.
Now it's simple. A strike. We go to a sudden death 1-ball roll off. They will just trade shots until there's a winner. And anything less than that.
Selfishly, I want to see that. I mean, let's go.
Mr. Ponzo will win the roll off and get the first round bye for match play on Sunday. Strike to tie. That's got to read.
Oh,
and it
my
does.
goodness.
Wow.
I can't believe that hooked. I cannot believe that hooked.
3-game set, right?
Oh, my.
Yep, 3-game roll-off. Here we go. Duster must have gave that ball the business because that got right early.
That is serious. Let's take a quick look. I mean, it was right from the start.
Oh, yeah, that's... He gave it the old hand signal. Air traffic control for Duster. Duster's hair hasn't moved all day. Look at this. It doesn't look like he's sweating. Look at that.
All right, so we're going to the... Now it's the sudden death 1-ball roll-off. This is what you'd see on a TV show by PBA, PWBA. Mike just referenced one. A good example of that, Tackett Fiore.
I was bowling state tournament during that roll-off, and the center was going nuts. That was a lot of fun.
Ponzo, bang.
Kid has ice in his veins.
Well, he threw it better each shot, as we talked about. He had choice, decided to go first in that situation. In the sudden death, I'm always going first.
100%.
That's a no-brainer. Simply put, Duster has to strike. Ponzo will grab the 1-round bye.
I like that one.
Maybe.
Oh!
Lean on at 9.
Look at that. Round 2, here we go. Smiles from both guys as they recognize this is kind of a special moment.
Game recognized. Game. And Duster again.
It's his birthday. I'll get him a present.
Let's take a look at Duster again.
I really like that one off his hand. Take that 9-pin.
And the slap out.
Then there's Kyle Ponzo with the Stuart Scott reference of as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Might need a little help. Yep.
Oh.
He needed a lot of help on that one. It was left from the start and doesn't get the fortuitous break of getting 8, right? You'd love it, at least 8 there.
Yeah.
Certainly back your way maybe into 9.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel bad about 9 at all. Not on this.
He re-racked the wrong lane, did Duster, but that's okay. Here's Ponzo's shot.
Yeah, I just kind of fell off that one. Didn't really project it really well. But easy to do on this. They're not easy.
All right, Duster needs 8 or better to win. 7, we're going to another roll-off, 1 ball, 6. And Ponzo will sneak out of here with a 1-round bye. Likes it. Bang.
Look at that.
Well, that was fun.
And if you're pumping your fist halfway down the lane, it must be a good shot. That was fun. That was a good finish.
On Sunday, it was 2 seed on the squad, and Ponzo is 3rd off the squad.
So officially, Kyle Duster will be the 2nd highest player, of course, on this squad. Ponzo will be 3rd, and Duster will receive a 1-round bye.
5 and 6 was good to Kyle Duster.
Yes, it was.
258, then won the roll-off to go from maybe not even making the cut to getting a bye.
That was
we talked about that
impressive.
mojo earlier when he tripped that 4-pin.
Yeah, he
Just
had it
never
going.
know. Just never know.
He had it going. And,
Well, thanks for having me in here.
yeah, that'll do it, Mike. With that said, I appreciate you.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Before you go, real quick, final thoughts. Just give something for the viewers to watch tomorrow based on what you watched today on this squad when we come in here at 7.
I think the story tomorrow will be how the field breaks them down in practice. I think watching today, you kind of see that Urethane had a lot of success, playing right had a lot of success, closing your angles at least early until that pattern stretched and lengthened and you got a little push. And then as the day went on, you saw guys open up their angles, play more in the track. But, I mean, honestly, all 4 guys that made it through Urethane. Ben Perry through Urethane start to finish. GT through Urethane most of the day, along with Kyle Duster and Kyle Ponzo. So I guess the moral of the story is I would be starting right, throwing surface with Urethane, make your spares, keep your head in it, 1 shot at a time. And if you catch a bad pair, try not to let it ruin your day because you could be Kyle Duster and shoot 250 on a good pair and get yourself a bye. So you just never know.
Absolutely. It's a great way to look at that. And with that said, we will bid you adieu tomorrow. The place to be all day long tomorrow is right here on Bowl Stream TV. You will want to be on the lookout because there's going to be some fun stuff all day long. 3 squads tomorrow, including a Desperado. The first begins at 7 a.m. local, which will be 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. So it's a good way to start off your Saturday on a wonderful weekend here in Phoenix. Big thanks, of course, to Theo Duthay of Complete Bowling Events, CBE, Chuck's Painting, EFX, Team Agent Ong, My Home Group, Brunswick, also Ramsey Auto Parts, Action, True Desert Southwest Events, of course, that's the TAT, and BVL. So some additional great sponsors here for the Cactus Classic. With that said, I will see you all in the morning. Thank you again for all of the wonderful birthday shout-outs. If you want to keep those going tomorrow, you are more than welcome. Mike, great job. And
thanks for having me.
Good luck today.
Bring some cookies for Emil
Sell some houses
tomorrow.
I appreciate that. For Theo, Mike, and all the entire great crew here, Mike Dermeyer and Reed and staff here at Lakeview Lanes, my name is Emil Williams Jr. We'll see you in the morning. This has been a presentation of A Squad of the 2025 CBE 10K Cactus Classic. 10,000 to the winner on Sunday. Watch it live and only on Bowl Stream TV. And remember, no, it's not that network. remember to come back tomorrow on Bullstream TV. Good night, folks.